everybody, on this Monday, December 23rd. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations, your alarm's going off, and you're waking up in the greatest country in history. We're off to work, and we got a whole show planned for you of engaging discussions, critical analysis, but most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver, and let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. If you thought it was going to be a quiet news day because it's Christmas Eve, well, not so much. A whole lot to discuss and debate. Joe Biden commuting 37 federal death row inmates. 37 out of 40. We'll talk about that. Donald Trump talking about the Panama Canal and Greenland, taking those back. What do you think of those? And then who is on your political nice and naughty list? A whole lot to cover today. Would you put Joe Biden on the political nice or naughty list? I mean, you did hold out long enough to not give Kamala Harris a full run at it. So where do you put him on that? We'd love to hear from you.
That's an interesting one. I don't know about that one. I'm not even sure I'm going to get him on my list. So we'll have to see what happens there. We will have to see. I
asked Billy to put together a list. Yeah. I've got a list as well. So we'd love to hear who's on yours naughty or nice list. I'll give you an example. Jared Polis, of course, on the naughty list because things are so bad. Even the gay bars are closing here in Colorado. Did you see that? One of the historic ones, Bill.
Yeah, I saw that.
Boys Town, I think.
Yeah, Boys Town. Yeah, I've actually been there. Yeah. Yes. They have cheap drink prices. I don't care. I'm married. I don't care. Do not care.
You know, that didn't stop some people.
No. Yeah. Drax is fantastic. That's a fun place. Haven't been there in years though. But yeah, they're facing the same type of problems that many of those downtown businesses are. I saw something else from a different business over the weekend that they were talking about some of the plan and the redevelopment. This was running along Colfax, and they're like, yeah, they keep saying it's going to get better, but they don't understand, can we survive until then? Yeah. And that's going to be the problem. Yeah, we'll see.
It's so bad in Denver. They've got a list of the most heartbreartking out of all of them. Yeah. They can actually create a sub list of the larger list of restaurants that are closing.
Yes, that is
in
true.
Denver. So a whole lot to cover today. Want to invite you to be a part of the conversation. So give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. We've also got Representative Brandi Bradley coming up in a minute. She's got her own Democrat naughty list that she's going to talk about. Greg Lopez is going to join us live in studio. We'll talk about his time in Congress. What did he learn? What do you think of Mike Johnston? How he's the Speaker of the House and how he finished his term there. We'll be talking with Greg live in studio. And then the great John Andrews, founder of the Centennial Institute, Independence Institute, gubernatorial candidate, former president of the Senate here in Colorado. He's got a new book out about 8 decades in the political space. So looking forward to a great conversation with John Andrews in the 9 o'clock hour. Let's check in on news and comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Oh, Blake's mic is up. No Blake.
No Blake?
No. I don't see him. Huh. Maybe not. Well, we'll see what we can do about that.
All right.
Let's go to the weather or something.
Here, listen to this real quick. This is wild. Biden commutes sentences of 39 federal death row inmates in the final month of his presidency. The move is aimed at preventing the Trump administration from carrying out executions that would not take place under the moratorium Biden issued in 2021. President Biden is commuting the sentence of nearly all the inmates on federal death row, a move that comes not even 2 weeks after he went through the largest single-day grant of clemency in American history. The White House has announced today, of the 40 inmates on federal death row, according to deathpenaltyinfo.org, Biden is commuting 37 men sentenced to death, reclassifying their sentences to life without the possibility of parole. The 3 inmates not included are Robert Bowers, who was responsible for the mass shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in 2018, which left 11 people dead. Dylan Roof, a white supremacist who killed 9 black parishioners at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015. And then Tsarnaev, who worked with his now dead brother to perpetuate the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing that killed 3 people and injured hundreds. So is Joe Biden being a good Catholic? But why isn't he commuting all of them? Aren't Catholics normally against the death penalty? But in this case, all but 3? Well, interesting. He's willing to go all that way. And I don't understand the fascination Democrats have with commuting some of the worst people. This really ticked me off about John Hickenlooper when he commuted the Chuck E. Cheese shooter. That guy who absolutely should have been executed for what he did. And now he gets to live a life on the taxpayer dime here. I don't know. Give me a call. Join the conversation. 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. Iggy, frustrated that I'm not recognizing Festivus. Is Festivus 2 days before Christmas?
Yeah, it's today.
It is today.
Yes, it is today.
Well, I apologize to my Festivus celebrating friends.
That'll be Iggy's first grievance against you.
That's exactly what he just texted.
That's exactly. My grievance is not being able to connect with Blake.
Well, we'll figure it out. Let's check in on weather as the folks are heading into work here.
A series of Pacific waves will be cutting across Colorado this week, bringing occasional snow to Colorado's mountains and maybe a chance of snow showers here on Christmas Day. Partly to mostly cloudy, low to mid-50s. Lows tonight near 30. Partly cloudy, mild, 55 to 60 on Tuesday. 30s Tuesday night. Christmas Day will be mostly cloudy and cooler. Highs in the upper 40s and falling. Late Christmas Day and Christmas night may have some snow showers. Lows Wednesday night, mid-20s. Highs Thursday, 40s. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center. A series of Pacific waves will be cutting across Colorado this week.
Where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
Bill, about this German Christmas market attack that took place?
Yeah, I did see that.
This is getting weirder and weirder. The man accused of killing 5 people, CNN is reporting, and injuring more than 200 others by ramming a car into a crowded German Christmas market had a history of making anti-Islam statements, which had grown increasingly dark and threatening towards Germany in the recent months. The suspect was arrested at the scene of the deadly attack on Friday. German authorities say they believe he acted alone. He's a Saudi Arabian citizen. The 50-year-old psychiatrist came to Germany in 2006. Once settled in the country, began sharing advice online with people about how to escape repressive regimes in Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states, setting up the platform wearesaudis.net. While initially appreciative of Germany in recent years, he appeared to grow increasingly disgruntled with the country and its immigration policies. In 2015, Germany welcomed more than 1 million refugees from the Middle East, but has since moved to tighten border controls. German authorities said on Saturday that they were examining the driver's dissatisfaction with Germany's treatment of refugees, although they said more time was needed to establish a motive. On social media, the driver posted openly about renouncing his Islamic faith, expressed sympathy for the far-right AfD party, and accused Germany of promoting Islamization of the country. If this guy was anti-Islam, why did he drive his car into Germany's?
Protesting.
Weird.
You've brought in the immigrants. Everything else, you're the problem.
That is wild. All right. Earlier this year, he made dark threats against Germany and the German people online, something the German authorities were apparently alerted to on his X account. He posted in May to his nearly 50,000 followers, German tourism will be brought to justice. It is very likely that I will die this year in order to bring justice. He made similar statements in August when he posted, I assure you that if Germany wants a war, we will fight it. If Germany wants to kill us, we will slaughter them, die or go to prison with pride. As part of efforts to promote his activism work, the driver had been in touch with many media organizations, including CNN. He told news outlets he had regular contact with vulnerable women and would often be their only point of contact outside of Saudi Arabia. He said he helped them plan travel to visa-free countries, and on several occasions, he facilitated contact between these women and the media. So CNN's even wrapped up into this. CNN communicated with him when reporting a story about 2 women who had fled Saudi Arabia for the former Soviet state of Georgia that was published in 2019. He helped facilitate contact with the woman, although he was not interviewed for the piece. BBC even interviewing this guy. So CNN knew him. BBC knew him. 50,000 followers on X, and then the guy gets in a car and decides to drive it into a market. Jeez. 41 people injured. What a disaster that was. That's just crazy. I also want to talk about this subway fire that took place. This person was lit on fire while she was sleeping on the subway. A Guatemalan migrant arrested for setting a sleeping NYC subway rider on fire, watching her burn to death. This comes from the New York Post. A Guatemalan migrant has been arrested for allegedly lighting a sleeping subway rider on fire in Brooklyn on Sunday morning, then watching as his innocent victim burned to death in what police commissioner called one of the most depraved crimes one person could possibly commit. The savage killing, which happened at about 7:30 on an idling F train at the Coney Island station, shocked commuters, MTA workers, and NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who said Sunday that the heinous crimes took the life of an innocent New Yorker. As the train pulled into the station, the suspect calmly walked up to the victim, who was in a seated position at the end of the subway car, and used what is believed to be a lighter to ignite the woman's clothing, which became fully engulfed in a matter of seconds. Patrolling cops smelled and saw smoke, then followed it to the flame-covered woman. They extinguished the blaze, but the victim died at the scene. Officials said the 33-year-old suspect came to the U.S. in 2018 from Guatemala. He was detained by Border Patrol agents in Arizona in June of that year. His legal status wasn't immediately clear on Sunday night. He received a transit summons in May 2023, but his criminal record in New York City was largely clean otherwise. He was living at a shelter on Randall's Island at the time of the infraction. Horrifying video obtained by the Post showed the suspect calmly looking on as flames consumed the still unidentified woman. The transit cop walked by and seemed to pull out a radio to say something as they continued down the platform. As the cops passed, the suspect got up as if to walk away. In another video, cops yelled to the gathered crowd, "Did anybody see anything? Did anybody see anything?" As smoke poured from inside the subway car. The suspect brazenly sat on a nearby bench as cops huddled around, pulling his hood up at one point just before the officer spoke for him. "Do me a favor, walk down there," the cop said, motioning down the platform with his radio. "I need this space cleaned up." The man stood up, then left the scene. Unbeknownst to the officers who responded, the suspect stayed on the scene and was seated on a bench platform just outside the train car. Jeez. Another example. You could see the picture of this guy being arrested. It's another example of fixing this immigration issue. So we'll see, as his actual immigration status hasn't been revealed quite yet, but another problem. It's just incredible on that. All right. Well, we'll continue with the Jeff and Bill show. We've got Brandi Bradley coming up here in just a second. She's got her own naughty or nice list and there she seems to be some Democrats coming up on this one, so you're not going to want to miss. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
This hour, I'm Christina Wyo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
Authorities in Texas say the driver of a pickup truck who took police on a high-speed chase drove his vehicle through the doors of a JCPenney store and injured 5 people. That's when he got into a shootout with police and was shot and killed. Sergeant Brian Washko of the Texas Department of Public Safety says the truck crashed into the department store in Killeen, which is about 68 miles north of Austin, around 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. The man then continued driving through the store, hitting people as he went. The 5 victims were treated at local hospitals. Albania's prime minister says the government will shut down TikTok for 1 year, blaming it for inciting violence and bullying, especially among children. Albanian authorities held 1,300 meetings with teachers and parents following the stabbing death of a teenager in mid-November by another teenager after a fight that started on TikTok. Prime Minister Edi Rama speaking at a meeting with teachers and parents, saying TikTok, quote, would be fully closed for all. There will be no TikTok in the Republic of Albania. Rama says the ban will start sometime next year. Albanian children comprise the largest group of TikTok users in the country, according to domestic researchers. German authorities say they received tips last year about the suspect in a car attack at a Christmas market in Germany, as more details emerged about the 5 people who were killed.
In Dallas, Christina Wyo, Salem News Channel.
What song is this?
This is Harry James and his orchestra, recorded in 1950. And this is Brazilian sleigh bells.
That's quite a cornet.
Isn't it cool, though?
There's people getting out of bed right now, dancing to this.
This is so good. Yeah, there are a couple of different versions of this, but I like Harry James' version best. So that's the one we brought today for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Who's on your political naughty or nice list? Joe Biden commuting 37 people on death row, including 5 child killers and several mass murderers. I guess they're now onto the nice list, maybe, at least not the execution list. Well, Representative Brandi Bradley, along with other House Republicans here in Colorado, got their own list. Not surprisingly, Democrats want every dollar that belongs to you. Santa's naughty list is in, and Colorado Democrats are topping the charts. Big surprise, right? These 5 Democrats blew through $700 million in the last session alone, acting like kids in a candy store with your tax dollars. To give us some insight is Representative Brandi Bradley from House District 39 in Douglas County. Good morning, Representative. Thanks for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Good morning, guys.
So let's talk about these 5 naughty spenders. Mary Young looks like she tops them all, huh?
She does, and she's not coming back, is she?
Thank you. Who took him out? Was it Gonzalez?
Yes.
Yes, Gonzalez replacing Mary Young. Ryan Gonzalez, who we had on the show Friday. Very smart, up-and-coming leader in the Republican Party. But yeah, I mean, talk about where some of this money's going. I mean, it's a lot. $264 million Mary Young spent. Any idea where that went?
A lot of it was to fund higher education, but last I checked, when you're, in the hole, you don't provide funding for these things. Mary Young wasn't a horrible spender. She had some really good ideas. It's just you can't spend money that you don't have. That's the thing with these Democrats. They keep spending money that they don't have. And, Tabor's not up for sale. The Colorado taxpayers have said, we want to keep Tabor protected. and the Democrats don't want to. So.
Wow. And let's talk next one, Lindsay Daugherty. Lindsay spent $247 million. She'll be coming back this year, huh?
She's going into the Senate, yes. And I don't think she'll have much success doing that because the Senate is a little bit more level-headed than the House.
Yeah. I mean, they get a taste of being in power and being able to distribute. I mean, Lindsay Daugherty, $247 million. She can buy a lot of favors with that type of money. Speaker McCluskey, $100 million. Now, is Speaker McCluskey going to be back? Is she likely going to be the Speaker of the House again?
Yes, they just reelected her as the Speaker, and she talks about a Colorado for all while throwing MAGA Republicans under the bus. So didn't sound like a good nonpartisan leader to me, but she was reelected.
Well, and she was the one that kept shutting down your ability to speak, right? Didn't she come with this long list of words that if you say them, they gavel you down? Stop speaking, Brandi Bradley. You are saying things that are inappropriate. She's the same person, right?
Yes, the whole party gave us a list of things like illegal immigrant, undocumented alien. There's a whole list of things that we were supposedly not allowed to say, so we said every single word that was on the list.
Monica Duran comes in number 4, $68 million. Who's Monica Duran?
She is our majority leader.
She's part of the control that's down there. And then McCormick at $57 million. Who's McCormick?
Oh, she loves anything LGBTQ, trans-related, puts women's rights at the bottom of the list of everything. So these are the people that want to replace pregnant women with chest-feeding person, things like that.
Gosh. So are we expected to see a lot of this in the upcoming term? Is this is this going to continue under their leadership down there?
Well, I mean, Polis just came out and said that we are $1 billion in debt and that he's going to cut K through 12 spending on top of IEPs and resources for autistic children. And the people I've talked to are pulling bills left and right with high fiscal notes. So I think it's going to be a full-on fight in the Democrat Party on who's going to get their bills passed and who's not.
Wow, they're just running out of money. And contrary to what the federal government does, where they can just drive further and further into debt, Colorado has to have a balanced budget. So there is at least a limit on that. I want to talk to you about who's on your nice list. So we have these 5 that are on the naughty list. Who in Colorado politics, maybe on the Republican or Democrat side, do you think did good this year and you want to see continue to lead next year?
Do I have to come up with a name right now? I'm just kidding. I think that there's some fiscally conservative people. I don't like seeing any Republican touch Tabor. So I have some people in my party that are on the naughty list. I don't want to see any Republican going after our Tabor refunds. I think that Coloradans have made that very apparent. Like I said earlier, there's some representatives on the Democrat side that I love to work with. Junie Joseph, people find that very odd. She's one of the DSA members, but she's a very smart woman. And, we don't agree all the time, but we work very well together to help the kids in Colorado.
That's great. Talking with Representative Brandi Bradley. I know you have a very busy day as you wrap up your job, even outside of lawmaking. A lot of people don't understand this, but you can't live full time off of the salary you get from being a lawmaker. So you have to have a job outside of all that, which I think is good. But we know you're very busy today. Thank you for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, thank you.
Always, guys. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas. She's doing a great job down there. She's got a list. If you go to her X account, which is Rep Brandi Bradley, or Bradley for Colorado. Her name on X is Rep Brandi Bradley, but Bradley for Colorado, Bradley 4CO. You can follow her there. She's got Santa's naughty list, which comes down in many ways to spending in this state. So go check her out there. I want to talk to you about my friends who are on the nice list over at Advanced Hair Restoration. Look, if the last couple of years have taught us one thing, this New Year's, it's to value the things that we can control. and addressing hair loss is no exception. Our friends at Advanced Hair Restoration can reverse years or even decades of hair loss with their simple one-day treatment. Your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. It works for bald spots, receding hairlines, thinning hair, men, women, younger, wiser. Advanced Hair can address many different patterns of hair loss. Advanced Hair's top-rated physicians, like Dr. Tanya Pauls, have changed tens of thousands of people's lives, and now it's your turn. Schedule your free consultation by calling 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. And to celebrate the new year, get special financing, 250 free hair grafts, and $250 off. Value the things you can control and start regrowing your own natural hair today. That's 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR. Become inspired with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com. I've had family members get their hair done. It really does change everything about their lives. It brings back a youthfulness because they look younger and they feel younger. And feeling youthful impacts their work relationships, their client relationships, their romantic relationships, everything. So it really does help you. Check out advancedhair.com. Text messages coming in. Yeah, how about the Republican congressperson found in a dementia home? Iggy, great. We were going to talk about this too. Granger. This was wild. I'm going to talk to Greg Lopez about this in the 8 o'clock hour. But Granger, who I remember when I was working on Capitol Hill, she was really a big leader of the Texas delegation, had disappeared for 6 months. 6 months. No votes. And people were tweeting from her account. Her staff were tweeting, responding, all this stuff. She had disappeared, no votes. They found her in an Alzheimer's care facility.
Yeah.
And she'd never resigned. Her family never resigned for her. The people that have power of attorney never did that for her. None of that. They just let her term run out on this. She was not reelected. She had retired, and there's somebody else that's going to take over her role in Congress. But holy cow, the people of her district without representation for 6 months.
Well, the other part is what about his GOP colleagues?
Right.
What about them?
Where's Mike Johnston?
And
did he know about this?
And here's the question I have. And this is, again, I understand that you can be going through things, but my question is, all those people that were yelling and screaming about dementia rattled Joe Biden, about the fact that the president is infirm and can't do his job, and what's he doing and who's really in charge. There was a member of the other party that was apparently living inside a retirement facility because of some severe memory issues, and nobody spoke up about that. Nobody. And so it's just,
I don't think they didn't know. I mean, maybe if they're lawmakers, this is why I think you can possibly criticize Mike Johnston.
Yeah.
But
nobody talked. Nobody in the delegation, nobody the other Texas representatives.
I saw plenty of Republicans calling this ridiculous.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody was asking the question or anything else. And then that's the issue is, for me, it again pulls back the curtain to where some of these critiques aren't necessarily about the health, the safety, or the mental capacity of the person. It has a lot more to do, in my opinion, of making hay politically. And I understand that Joe Biden was slipping, and I acknowledge in some of that was hidden. Absolutely.
I don't know anybody that was defending her. I don't know a single person that was defending her.
No, but the issue is,
and you had all the media, and you had Kamala Harris actually defending Joe Biden.
No, the issue is the issue is the GOP. Y'all didn't check. Y'all should not showing up for 6 months, and y'all didn't check. The people that are like, everybody's got to go back to the office. Get back to the office, or we got to be there. You've got to be there in person in order to do your job. You can't do your job not being in person. That whole push.
Yeah.
Where is she in the meetings? Nobody bothered to ask.
That's why we're asking if Mike Johnston knew and when he knew about it.
Anybody else? Anyone else inside the House of Representatives? Nobody who went to lunch with her on a regular basis bothered to reach out and ask. Nobody ever walked by her office because in the reporting,
Yeah,
it said that
go by her office.
Yeah,
it's
that
totally
it was
empty.
It was locked and there was paper placed over the window. Nobody.
I think that
walked
was
down the hall.
her district office, but that's not her congressional office.
It doesn't. But even both, there wasn't anybody staffing either one. There wasn't anybody in either office, from what I read in the reporting, I believe. Nobody checked. That's what I got a huge question about this.
Dude, I'm all with you on that one.
No one bothered
and
to
if
check.
somebody knew, especially if Mayor Mike, that's Mayor Mike Johnston. Yeah. If Mike Johnston, the Speaker of the House, who I'm actually beginning to become much more frustrated with.
Oh,
and
jump on the bandwagon with me. Been there a long time.
and am ready to see him go at this point. But I'm guessing as the leader of that party and the Speaker of the House, he must have known.
And here's the thing. Remember last week, we were screaming towards a government shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans needed every vote they could get.
I know.
Where is she?
Right.
There were other measures earlier in the last 6 months. There was I think another continuing right now. There wasn't another continuing resolution, but there were a few other debates and votes in the last 6 months. Could have used your voice.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Nobody asked.
But
Nobody
Bill,
asked.
You're not getting the media. You're not getting Kamala Harris defending this person, saying, "Oh, she's fine. She's doing great. We need her in there," and somebody else is signing her hand or whatever. Since this has come out, I have seen Republicans frustrated, calling for answers to this, not trying to hide it and bury it like the Democrats did Joe Biden.
Well, the issue is, I don't necessarily agree with the idea of trying to hide and bury it, because y'all didn't check at all. Somebody had to know. She didn't just stop showing up, and you guys just didn't wonder about it. Seriously? For 6 months, her desk, when you're meeting inside the well, right. Nobody's there, and not a single person asks a question. I'm sorry. And this is the only thing is, that's why I feel when people are turning around, and yes, the critiques of Joe Biden are fair, but when we're pointing and throwing such rocks at him, we didn't notice that a member of the GOP wasn't showing up to work because of dementia. For me, it shows where our priorities are focused. It's more of a focus on, I need to attack the other party. I need to do whatever I can, and whatever's going on in my own party, I will ignore. I will paper over and ignore any of the warts going on in my own party, but I'll be more than happy to throw rocks at the other one.
You can make that critique of Mike Johnston if he knew, which I'm guessing, and if he didn't know, that's a competence in itself. But I haven't seen Republicans trying to defend her, say that she needs to remain in there, make up stuff about how talented she still is and that she's at her very best, like Joe Scarborough was saying about Joe Biden. You don't see that form of defense. In fact, when this was released over the weekend, every Republican account I saw condemned this, said that that this needs to change and that we need term limits. Like, this is a hell of an argument for term limits. So I think you can make that fair critique of Republican leadership if they knew. Why they wouldn't have asked her to resign and fill it, I don't understand. I don't get that.
Here's the part. More, and I agree with the critique you're making about people not being honest with Joe Biden's condition. The critique I have is the not noticing. That to me is worse. We had a story in You Choose the News like 6 months ago where a woman died at her desk and was left there for 4 days in the office. 4 days dead. Nobody wandered by Kathy's desk to say, "Hey, working hard, hardly working, getting ready for the weekend." Nobody just went by Kathy's desk to see that she was dead. Now, again, I don't remember if that was her name, but I'm just saying the name. That's the issue. That's the critique that I have. Is more than focusing on, hey, Joe Biden's infirm. There was someone that was suffering from mental disability in the GOP, not coming to work for 6 months, and the party didn't notice. That to me is a tremendous critique.
That's fine.
That you didn't notice. And that to me hurts the critique for Biden. It's the idea of how come he's doing this? How come he's doing this? How come you didn't know one of your people was suffering from dementia and wasn't showing up for 6 months? That to me lessens that argument against Joe Biden. I'm not saying it's invalid, but it sure loses a lot of its bite when you've got someone that's not showing up from your own party that you have no idea. When you have a razor thin margin in the House and nobody wonders where she is.
why they wouldn't call for her resignation and get I don't know, because each state has their own process for filling a vacancy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Texas is controlled by Democrats.
No,
that's so bizarre to me.
That's the part that got me, was the fact that it was a Texas representative. Right. I went, hang on. In another state, I could see the idea of the GOP saying, shh, don't tell anyone because we don't want the Democrat to be able to, governor to be able to appoint the new person. I can see that.
You at least understand it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see that politically. I don't agree with it.
I don't get
this.
it.
I don't understand at all.
And there's another Republican that's already stepped up. I wonder, my wife and I were talking about this because it was like, did the family want to keep her in order to keep, because the members of Congress have like the gold standard of healthcare.
Okay. This is why we're friends. That is exactly what I thought. and I didn't want to bring it up because I'm like, oh, Bill, you're being such an a-hole. You are being such an asshat.
No, like
by thinking,
why would the family?
Yes, I'm thinking the paycheck's got to keep coming.
Yes.
The benefits got to keep coming. And for every extra month, it pushes pension. It pushes everything else. That's exactly what I thought it was. Like, you don't want to give up the benefits.
Yeah.
They were just going to weekend at Bernie's her for as long as they could. They were going to sit there and pretend,
finish it out.
Yeah.
Which is just
it's crazy. It is crazy to think about.
Look, I've been hesitant on term limits.
Yeah.
In part because of what's happened to Colorado on term limits, which is the real people that have control down at the Colorado State Capitol are the lobbyists. Because you get Joe Smith, who lives down down the street in your neighborhood, that gets elected as state house member.
Yeah.
Right. Because of term limits. You don't have people staying in there 20, 25 years, really learning how the process works.
Yeah.
You get Joe Smith, and Joe Smith shows up and he's got to figure out how to move bills through committee, work with lobbyists, all that, the governor's office, manage that complicated process. So no, a lobbyist comes around and is like, here's the bill I already wrote for you. By the way, I already called the governor's office, and their legislative affairs council is ready to go on it and all that stuff. They've done all the work. So you end up with a lot of power that goes to lobbyists because the system's so complicated.
Yeah, because it's a brain drain. Because the people with the intellectual knowledge and the institutional knowledge that have been in the Congress for a while then get cycled out. So the only ones that have that institutional knowledge are the lobbyists.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, we never seem to pass any laws about that, do we?
Yeah,
we never do. The weirdest
that.
thing in the world, and you talk about it all the time, how the lobbyists are writing the bills. Yep. The weirdest thing is there's nothing talking about that. And even when you have rules that say, no, you have to have this kind of a cooling off period before you can turn around and leave Congress and become a lobbyist, those things get huge pushback.
Yep.
Yeah, huge pushback.
So
on that.
That's why I'm always a little hesitant about term limits. But now the other flip, and my wife and I were talking about it over the weekend, is you have an age drain that takes place where, because Congress doesn't have term limits, and you have Nancy Pelosi in her 80s breaking her hip, and who's the Senate head? McConnell. Yeah. Mitch McConnell. He's so old. Chuck Schumer's so old that you actually don't get a younger crop that comes through as a result.
The crazy part is how far above average retirement age Congress is. That's the ridiculous part. Is there? I mean, I think the average age in Senate is the 70s. It's in the low 70s. That's ridiculous. And here's the idea: is if we put together, if we were going to put together a community group, if we were going to put together a new business, if we were going to put together a new radio station, getting the majority of the decision makers and staff members plus 70 may not be the best choice. If you were starting an Uber company, most of your employees plus 70, probably not the best choice. If you were starting a restaurant, plus 70, probably not the best choice. Only because of their, just the stamina and the ability to do the job. And then we give them this job as far as Congress that's supposed to make the rules about what we're doing. And and a lot of it is it has so much to do with age and the problems they have when they're getting older. And this is called The Transition on December 23rd, when we're going to start talking about balanced wealth space and transitioning into what those people in Congress should be doing about the pain and suffering in their lives, just about what you can do in yours. Now, this is like your own little early Christmas gift to yourself. Contact Balance Wealth Space, balancewealthspace.com, because under the Christmas tree, they are going to take away your pain. This isn't about adding something to your life. This is about taking something away, taking away that constant pain that you've been living your life in. I had it for years. I had a bunch of major surgeries a number of years in my life, and as time goes on, things begin to hurt. I thought that's just what happened when you get old. And then you get older, things hurt. That's what I had seen the other older people in my life do when I was younger. So I just assumed this was part of living. It's not. Thanks to the amazing medical professionals at Balance Wealth Space, they have a whole bunch of non-invasive technology that can really make a substantial difference in your life, taking away that daily pain. I used to live my life in daily pain. It was only a question of what level it was going to be at, not a question of if. It was just how much. But since I've been working at Balance Wealth Space, those days are gone. I can't tell you how much of a difference it has made in the stuff that I am able to do. Now, Balance Wealth Space will specialize in integrative medicine. That's a difficult term. I didn't understand what it meant. It means that under one roof, you get things like trigger point injections, regenerative care, rehabilitation, wave therapy, neuropathic care, chiropractic care. When they were loosening up the muscles around the vertebrae in my lower back that are fusing together, they were using a thing called Synexus, which shoots electrical stimulation through the muscles and relaxes them. It loosened up my lower back and was able for us to manipulate it and then start regenerating the disc in my lower back. It was almost gone, and now it feels better than it has in decades. I'm regenerating the meniscus in my left knee as we're talking right now. My left knee is now my strong knee. My right knee is the one that's giving me problems, and we're starting to work on that one. What Balance Wealth Space will do when you talk to them is they'll bring you in, they do a custom pain evaluation. They do the tests, the poking, the prodding. They talk to you about what hurts and also where your goals are. Then they put together a custom plan that is designed about you, your pain, and your life. Then they go to work. That's where the difference happens. Your current medical team, yeah, they may be doing a good job, but they're never talking about you. You're going all over town over the course of days, weeks, even of course a couple of months. But those medical professionals are never getting on a conference call, a Zoom call. They're never sending each other pigeon notes in order to discuss how your pain care is going as a whole. That's what Balance Wealth Space does. Every couple of weeks, they come back and they reevaluate you. They make sure you're moving in the direction you need to. If not, they make the tweaks necessary to get you exactly where you want to go. The people I talk to in the office, the patients, they're just over the moon. They say that this is life-changing, and I want them to be able to change your life as well. But you got to take the first step. Contact them today, balancewealthspace.com. Brand new offices in Lowry, right across from Hangar 2. Plenty of parking, balancewealthspace.com. Give them the chance to make the change in your life they've made in mine and so many other residents here in Denver just since they've opened in about a year ago. Balancewealthspace.com, balancewealthspace.com. When you reach out to them, tell them you heard about them here on Jeff and Bill, because it sure does help us out as well. And Merry Christmas.
That's great to hear, Bill. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Station, News Talk 710 KNUS.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
Well, Bill, it wasn't the same on Friday without you. People have been missing. You choose the news.
Oh, yes. It is that time of the morning where we get to make a very, very questionable decisions. You guys changed the keyboard on me. All righty. And it is where we play everybody's favorite fake radio news game show. You choose the news. We've scoured the interwebs for mere moments this morning to find really dumb stories about us humans to play this fake radio news game show. Why? Well, nobody in charge has any idea that we are being this irresponsible with the airtime. Well, they do get up here just in about 8 minutes, so we do have to make this quick. And as always, shh, don't tell anybody. This is a secret just between you and I. Now, we are going to check in to see if Blake can hear us. Blake in the newsroom, can you hear us? No, we cannot. Okay, so we're going to skip that one today. We may be skipping his news next top of the hour, too, because things are going sideways today. Alrighty, here we go, Jeff. Your choices this morning are headline number 1, cuddly, fuzzy, cute little cannibals. Headline number 2, just like when they replaced Darren. Headline number 3, it's just an accident. And headline number 4, the final experiment isn't. Your choice, sir.
Let's start with the cannibals.
Yes, cute, fuzzy, little cuddly cannibals. This is going to change the next time you wander through the park, how you're going to view some of those little rodents running around. Because a new study from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and the University of California suggests that ground squirrels are cannibals. They're omnivores.
Wow.
Not just herbivores.
Huh.
The study offers
just collecting the walnuts. Huh?
Yeah, no, they're also
Acorns.
collecting skulls. The study offers the first documentation of the species actively preying on other live vertebrates. There was some shocking footage that was discovered. It was recently published in a sciencey journal. You know how the science hippies are. The researchers made their discovery during the 12th year of a long-term study on the California ground squirrel population. They found that 42% of the time these squirrels actively hunted other rodents.
Whoa.
Their diet is more flexible than previously thought. Mostly they're feeding on voles. They're like little things so that run around underground. That's what they're mostly trying to eat. But hey, you know, if you give them a chance, they may just eat your face. Just saying that those things aren't as cuddly and nice as you think they are. So yes, they could be cannibalistic. All righty. Second choice this morning, sir. Just like when they replaced Darren, it's just an accident or final experiment that isn't.
Just an accident.
It is just an accident. I don't understand why everybody's getting upset. That's what a Missouri man said recently. Jeffrey Good, 41, walked into the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office in Missouri recently, on December 18th, to confess that he accidentally stabbed his father to death. It was just an accident. He only stabbed him 50 times. It was a repeated mistake he made over and over again in the family's kitchen.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. 50 times. Eventually, when officers performed a welfare check at the father's residence, they encountered a strong presence of bleach, as if someone was trying to clean something up. Inside the kitchen, they found the victim face down. They described multiple areas of trauma and numerous stab wounds, a total of 50 of them. A kitchen knife believed to be the murder weapon was located about 5 feet from the body. When they talked to Jeffrey about it, he said he understood he was not free to leave because he accidentally killed somebody.
I just put my knife out there and he just kept falling into it.
Yes, he just kept running into
Over
it 50
and
times.
over and over
I kept
and
saying,
over again.
stop, Dad, stop. Please don't fall backwards into my knife again. Yes, I know. He's like, I accidentally killed someone. That's a weird way to start a conversation in a police station. But oh well. What do you do? Okay, final choice this morning, sir. Just like when they replaced Darren, or the final experiment that isn't.
Final experiment.
Yeah, the final experiment that isn't. Here we're going to start in our very own Denver, Colorado, and Pastor Will Duffy. For the past 3 years, he's been working to bring together a selection of globalists and flat earthers. They recently made the historic journey to Union Glacier Camp in Antarctica. They're in the South Pole. Now, the reason they were doing it is to see if the world was really round or not. Not to try to find the edge of the earth, but to see if they could find a 24-hour sun. A 24-hour sun cannot exist inside of a flat earth.
Right.
But if we are a tilted globe model, a 24-hour sun can happen. Well, surprise, the sun was up for 24 hours. And some of the flat earthers are like, because you can't explain seasons if you're a flat earther. And one gentleman said, well, this is just one data point. I understand that it may look like we're wrong, but this is only one data point in the larger science of, look, over there, polar bear. And then he ran away. I think that's what happened. But okay, back to you. The earth's round, people. That's the end of
They
the news.
took that whole trip.
Yes. and then still didn't.
Saw it firsthand and are still like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know about this. Still don't believe
Oh,
it.
my goodness. All right. When we come back, Billy and I are going to give you our political naughty and nice list. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are KNUS.
It is 7:01 in the Mile High City on this Monday, December 23rd, Christmas Eve, and a happy Festivus to all who celebrate.
Yes, feats of strength come later. Do you recognize the voice? Just out of curiosity.
Last time I thought it was a girl and it ended up being Justin Bieber.
No, this is a dude. 90s alternative.
Oh, this is Billy Corgan.
Yes, nicely done. Yeah, this is Smashing Pumpkins, Christmas time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a unique voice.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, this is just a fun one. I think it's very hard to create a new,
I
Christmas
think
Carol.
he became a believer later in life. And speaking of that, did you see Denzel Washington baptized and now minister of the gospel?
That's wonderful.
Good job, Denzel. Get out there and
That is really cool.
preach. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. It's Christmas Eve in the greatest country in history. We're off and running. We got a whole hour planned for you. I'm engaging conversations, critical analysis, but most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver. We'll dive into the issues. Fortunately, we have some tech issues with Blake Olson, so no Blake Olson news and commentary today. So we're just going to jump right into it and keep it going. Billy, I put together a little political naughty and nice list.
Oh, excellent.
I think you have some on your list
Yeah,
too.
I've got a list too.
But I would
Although it was kind of
love.
hard. It was difficult. There was
was
one
easy for
particular.
me.
Oh, there was one particular. It was the nice part. That was the hard part for me. The naughty list. I'm like, okay, I gotta cut this off
Any
because I could keep
politician
going.
that's nice, I don't know.
Yeah, I could keep going and going. I'm like, is there? And I did. I had to sit there and go, nice. That was the hard part for me on this one, my friend. I spent way too much time thinking.
funny.
Yeah, the naughty part was like, oh, I got a dozen. But yeah, I cut it off after about the 5 or 6. But it didn't want to go too long.
Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Naughty list. For me, I've got 5 naughty and 5 nice. We'll start with the naughty. Mike Johnston. For spending millions of dollars that are unaccounted for on the homeless and illegal immigrants.
That is a good one.
Where to go? We don't know. Oh, Mikey Johnston, you're getting some coal.
Absolutely.
Jared Polis for destroying a state so poorly that even the gay bars can't make it anymore. And if you missed this over the weekend, Boys Town, which is apparently a gay bar I've never been to. Billy, though, admitted to visiting.
Been there.
Is closing down.
Dude. Again,
but what about
super cheap drinks? It's okay. that's
exactly like saying you got the subscription to Playboy for the articles.
Oh, I know, but it's the thing is, I had a number
you watched.
No, I had a couple of a couple of friends they're gay, and they would go down there because the vibe was good, and the drinks are cheap. So, yeah, absolutely. I get no problem. And I'm not out there surfing for anybody, so I give a damn. Whether that's a singles bar for straight, gay,
question was,
care.
were you hit on?
No. Those days are long gone. Those are what's underneath this green shirt that you can see us on the YouTube. So this is not for sharing. I am lucky that my wife still allows me to see her naked on a regular basis. This is nobody wants to see this. No. Those days are long gone, my friend. Long gone. Yeah. And that's why it's easy for me. I'm like, I don't care. I know walking in that place, nobody's sitting there going, ooh, who's that? I got to get me some of that. No, they're like, I feel sorry for him.
They look at you the same way they look at Jared Polis, sugar daddy.
No, not at all. They're like if he was a sugar daddy, he'd dress better. No, absolutely not. No. But again, cheap drinks. Yeah, I'm a fan of that. I'm okay with that one.
Also on my naughty list, Jenna Griswold for committing crimes that others go to jail for. Well, she gets to line up to become the next governor.
That's really weird.
Jenna Griswold.
The thing for me is
tisk.
I can't figure out what the Dems are thinking about that one. As far as the idea, is it just name recognition? Is it? I mean, what?
How she finishes second in a poll?
Yeah,
behind Joe Neguse.
Why? What are the? I'd love to know why. That I can't.
Well, she's getting rewarded for.
That one hurts my head.
Hammering the Republicans, I guess.
Yeah,
fixing the election or whatever it is. Who knows? Jenna Griswold.
That's a very loaded way to
list.
use the word fixed. Fixed is doing a lot of lifting one way or another in that sentence. And I'm going to let it go because that was so well done, my friend. That was so well done.
Kyle Clark, of course, making the naughty list for desperately trying to downplay the Venezuelan gang problems and Aurora as code violations.
Yeah, that needed to be done.
You're on the naughty list, Kylie.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. The idea it was just a bunch of code violations and not going back and saying, well, we were wrong. But, well.
And we went down and, of course, interviewed people. And I was even, I put some of those additional audio clips on over the weekend on my X account of Guatemalan women going, we're being extorted here.
Yeah.
So, and then Trisha Calavarsi rounding out my naughty list. Do you know why, Billy?
No.
Do you remember who Trisha is?
Yeah, I do. But what?
Challenged Lauren Boebert.
Yep.
And never came on the top talk radio show in her district.
That's a good point.
In spite of being invited over and over and over again. Trisha, you should have come on the Jeff and Bill show.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's fair. That is a fair one. I'd be curious to see what the listeners have. I mean, if they had to hand them out, who would be on their nice and naughty list? Because I don't know.
All right, you want to
tough one.
You want to hear my nice list, or do you want to go to your naughty?
Let's go. I'll go through my naughties. Let's go through my naughties.
Let's go through your naughties.
Oddly enough, we share some of them together, and that would be Denver Mayor Mike Johnston. He's absolutely on my naughty list for many of the same reasons you have. One, for overpromising, and two, not figuring out how accounting is done. And that to me is, for me, it's nearly inexcusable. Because you say you want to be able to run this large of a city, that you know what you're doing. And part of that is keeping track of where the money went. Yep. And during the process, nobody talked about what the accounting system was and that you're paying double on some of these invoices. And you can't go back post-mortem and look at exactly what bucket all the money went because you were so bad at the base accounting side of it. That to me is inexcusable. That to me is one of those points where it's like, I wouldn't be able to, if I was in Denver, I wouldn't be able to vote for you again. I didn't vote from the first time, not in Denver, doesn't matter. But if I had, that's I can't vote for you the second time. The fact that you can't figure out the money. Yeah. Now, Griswold, obviously, and for me, it's a little bit different. For me, it's because she politicized the office. And I've got a real bad taste in my mouth for how political she made an office that shouldn't be political at all. And so I got a real bad taste there. I got in the naughty list here in Colorado, I got Phil Weiser, our Attorney General, because I can't figure out what the hell he did. I do not know.
She stopped a major merger between Albertsons and Kroger.
Yay, good. But again, the idea of I'm going to go around for a listening tour. No. Why did you have to do that BS? I mean, you could have done it as Zoom, but more importantly, rather than wasting the time and effort, you could have easily examined the ideas of law and supply and demand. This is an economics 101 question. And if the AG can't answer that in a half-hour brainstorm in his office, I got serious issues. The whiteboard to carry around and a bunch of other questions. And also, I've got some questions about when they were hiring people from out of state that were brought in to prosecute cases of which they had no experience doing. The hell is that about? Why are we paying extra money to bring in lawyers from out of state to prosecute cases of which they have zero experience doing? You got nobody else on your staff? What does that say about you and hiring? If you have nobody else on your staff that you believe can handle this?
Yep.
The hell's going on in that office? Now, unfortunately, we're going to go, honestly, I'm going to go national on these. And these are not going to make me any friends, but it should be expected. Each and every one of these should be expected. And I'm just going to, run through them pretty quickly. On the naughty list nationally, I would put our incoming president, Donald Trump. I would put our vice president, J.D. Vance. I would put Elon Musk, and I would put Jim Jordan and James Comer on that list. And Comer and Jordan is because they spent the last 4 years talking about finding the weaponization of government and getting the Biden crime family, and they have zero to show for it. They spent a whole lot of time and a whole lot of press conferences and a whole lot of interviews talking about things that never happened and things they couldn't produce, things they couldn't prove. That they're on the naughty list. And the Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk triumvirate is fairly obvious based on my position. So that's just where I'm sitting on that one. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, call and tell me why I'm wrong. That's going to be the big thing. So that's what I want to know.
We do have Tony is asking us about when the airing of grievances is going to take place. You're always welcome, Tony, to give us a call. Yeah, we can do that right now.
Yes, we can do the Festivus if you want.
All right. So you want to do the nice list?
Yeah.
Do you have anyone on your nice list?
That was hard. Yes, it took me a little while. I had to work on it. It was not easy. And then I had an inspiration. Then I was like, oh, yes, I had a little bit of inspiration. And then it was good. But that took me a long time. I spent a long time because I got this message from me yesterday. I spent yesterday evening. I spent this morning. It wasn't until about maybe 5:15 that I went, oh, okay. I can get more than one name on that list. So, okay. So, yeah, go ahead. Who's on your nice?
On my nice list, I want to start by thanking Joe Biden for so desperately trying to cling to power that he unintentionally sabotaged or intentionally sabotaged Kamala Harris's campaign and helping Republicans win big. Joe, you did it. You did it. Congratulations. That desperate attempt that Jill Biden implemented to keep you in power, even though you can't even function and string a sentence together, resulted in a tremendous Republican victory. Joe Biden might get a little Christmas gift from me this year. Elon Musk makes the list. America's Tony Stark, saving the world, because without him, the globalists would be our overlords. So proud of Elon Musk. You are on the nice list. My good friend, Charlie Kirk, crushing it with America Fest over the weekend, single-handedly bringing down higher education in America, organizing massive voter turnout operations in key states, and yes, making being a young conservative punk rock again. Charlie Kirk, Chuck, you're definitely on the nice list this year. Congratulations. I'm thrilled with Colorado's Republican congressional delegation. Jeff Hurd, Jeff Crank, Greg Lopez, Doug Lamborn, Lauren Boebert, and Gabe Evans. We got some all-stars there. A lot to celebrate with our Republican congressional team. And then, of course, DJT himself facing arrest, incarceration, lawsuits, assassination attempts, and the entire Democratic globalist deep state machine to usher in America's new golden age. DJT getting special gifts from Santa Claus tonight, or this week, Christmas, on being on the nice list. So those are the 5 that make up my list. Text messages starting to come in. Billy,
Yeah.
your naughty list is anti-American. The end.
Anti-American?
That's what they said. 9450.
Really? They're upset that I have Mayor Mike Johnston and Jenna Griswold and Phil Weiser. That's weird. That's weird that would be anti-American. I don't understand. Perhaps they need to call and explain
they do.
why it's so anti-American. I can't figure that out. I did not know they were such big supporters of Jenna Griswold. Maybe they're one of the ones that voted for her in the primary that wants her to be governor. Maybe they could campaign for Jenna Griswold, since I'm so un-American, by putting her on my naughty list. But as for my nice list, here's the only person I could think of until this morning. Taylor Swift. I'm putting her on my nice list. She's fantastic. Did you see she handed out $197 million in bonuses and gifts to people that worked on the tour? That's crazy.
Did she make $1 billion?
Yeah.
So that would be like 10%.
Yeah. But again, who else is handing $197 million to their employees that they're working with? That is crazy. That is crazy. I'm going to chat to the phone real quick.
Yeah, phones are starting to light up. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. Naughty list from Breadman, Abe Layden and George Teal, because they're going to bankrupt Douglas County with their water project. There we go. Now we're starting to get a little specific. I love it, Breadman. Thanks for texting in. I am concerned about that water project too.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a concern. But we'll see.
Because you know the old saying in Colorado that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. So we fight over water in this state. Let's go to Melissa. Good morning, Melissa. You're on the Jeff and Bill show. You got your political nice and naughty list for us?
I do. Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Well, I just have one for the naughty list, and that's Al Sharpton. For tax evasion, has he apologized to those college guys yet? The pay for play, and then I tried to look up some stuff that he's done on the internet just now. It's called Cliff Notes, is the website, and it started to give me information, and then the rest is all blurry when you scroll through it. Like they totally wiped it.
There's enough information about him. They want to make you pay to get the rest of it.
Yes.
Yeah, Al Sharpton,
That's
he's good on the naughty list because, he made a career out of just false allegations. Do you think, though, that stuff's going to continue to stand? I mean, Donald Trump is now, he's going after the pollster. He's going after ABC News. Lots of lawsuits when you defame somebody.
Well, if he comes after him, they're going to say it's revenge, but I don't understand why people have gotten, Wesley Snipes went to jail for tax evasion, and somehow, Al Sharpton gets away with it. Nobody says anything. I don't understand.
Melissa, who'd be on your nice list?
On my nice list, I would say Trump's daughter-in-law.
Oh, Laura Trump?
Yes, I think she's just came out and it's just been amazing. Like, she's a really good daughter-in-law. She should get an award just for that.
I agree with you. She's been faithful to the family through everything, and then joined the RNC and was helpful and
no bad idea.
Did a great job at the RNC.
Hear the 2 songs she released? That's a crime against music. No. She's on the naughty list just because the 2 songs she released. Those are awful and atrocious. And I'm sorry. That's just because of the world I live in. I can't go. She would be mostly harmless to me, but those 2 things are awful. That's the fact that she released 2 different songs. No, I can't. Yeah. No. And if I heard it again, I'd have to get a pencil and try to dig out one of my eardrums. It's just awful. Okay,
Bill, I think we need to dig those music. I haven't heard the song. I haven't heard the song.
Good. Consider yourself lucky.
I never heard of it. I'm not going to listen.
Yes, do not. Again, seems like a lovely person. Not a recording star.
Now Googling Laura Trump.
No, don't.
Her song.
Don't do that.
What are even the titles? Was it like a Christmas song?
I don't know. It was just some random stuff that I don't know.
I Won't Back Down's one of them. Anything is possible. Hero.
Yeah.
Colors Don't Run. She made a bunch of songs.
Yeah.
She redid Tom Petty.
Yeah. And
did she?
Oh no!
I Won't Back Down.
It is. I think that's the one. I think that's one of them there. I don't know. Again, there's some sort of a trauma that I had listening to them, and they're so bad. And so it's been blacked out in my mind as something that my brain is trying to prevent me from remembering because it was such a scarring incident. It's just awful. It's like, why are we doing this? I don't understand. Yeah, no.
It is the Tom Petty song. Twang there.
Yeah, and we're going to sing out of our nasal passages.
Thank goodness Tom didn't have to hear that.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I know. Hey, well, Melissa, have you gotten your Christmas shopping all wrapped up and everything? Is everything good for you? You put everything to bed?
I'm finishing up today.
Hey, good luck on that. Okay, last question I've got for you, Melissa, because you always come out and you spend time with us when we do our remotes and such. Okay, this is not fair, but your go-to Christmas carol, what is the one that you have to hear each and every holiday season? What's the one that really, you hear that and you're like, yeah, it's Christmas?
I don't know. I just like the jazzy Christmas songs. I guess I like Nat King Cole, his stuff.
Yeah. Now, are you a Christmas song, Nat King Cole? Or are you caroling? Do you know that? Do you know? Just curious. Again, I'm so much of a dork about this. Now, what's the one you hate?
I'm not a caroler.
What's the one that you hate? What's the one that you're like, oh God, why do I have to hear this again?
Oh, that one that Paul McCartney did. It's terrible. I wish I could unhear
Wonderful
that
Christmas time.
Yeah. Oh, terrible.
Oh my God, you're my favorite. And that's a weird study in music because he repeats that line. You were simply having a wonderful Christmas time over and over and over again. It's almost repeated like 20 times inside of the song. And it's just
he wrote it 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. He absolutely did. Yeah. And he's leaning into a heck of a lot more synthesizers than are actually necessary on that song. It's way too much synthesizer, but that was the time that you know what you're gonna do.
Expect more from a Beatle.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, my friend. Oh, Melissa, Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll talk to you. Oh, thanks.
Always great to hear from Melissa. Melissa's line is open. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Who is on your Christmas naughty or nice list? And would you put Joe Biden on the nice list? There's definitely 37 federal death row inmates that are putting Joe Biden on their nice list. Holy cow. I don't know if you heard this, but over the night, Joe Biden commutes the death sentence of child killers, mass murders, all 2 days before Christmas. 37 of the 40 men on federal death row gave the reprieve to the nation's most violent murderers, 9 of whom were found too dangerous to live after butchering fellow inmates as part of his effort to, quote, ensure a fair and effective justice system. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Do I get to go through the rest of my nice list? I don't know if it matters.
Oh, you had more?
I have a couple.
Okay, please.
I had Taylor Swift.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We got Melissa. Melissa's much more important than what's coming to my face. Now, the other ones I have, now I did go into some politics. I did lean into some nice friends of the show. On the nice list, I would put Danielle Jurinsky, John Fabricatori, Greg Lopez, and George Brockler. I think those are all nice. And and part of what I like for Lopez, one of the big achievements for me, and he's going to be in studio with us later this morning, is the fact that he stepped in to prevent the continued primary going on for CD4. That he's like, no, I'm only going to do this for a short time. You guys don't have to worry about it. He became the solution that we needed at the time. And that's a difficult thing to do personally, because you're only there as a short timer. But I still say that was one of the smartest political decisions anybody in Colorado has made for a decade. That was a brilliant move. So I like that. George Brockler as well. Also, I put in Sean Payton and Bo Nix, even though despite what happened on Thursday, you're giving us some hope for the first time as Bronco fans. True. So they've got to be on my nice list. And also, this is a little bit obscure, but whoever cursed Manchester City to go a dozen games without a win, you are on my nice list. You're on my nice list forever. In fact, if I was having more kids, I would name one of them after you, because it is so wonderful seeing Manchester City struggle. And they lost again to Aston Villa this weekend. Oh, and it made me so happy. It's so nice to see them get knocked off their pedestal. So yeah, whoever's responsible for that. Thank you.
Soccer, football, and no snakes made your nice list. Huh?
No. Although, do I have a problem? Oh no, there's a guy I know that lives in California that's getting out of the gig. He's getting out of the hobby, and he's a breeder, and he's shedding a lot of his current stock. And it's so hard to not buy snakes. It is so hard. He has some that are killer. He has an axanthic patternless bull snake that's about 4 years old, and that's a gorgeous animal. That's something that's a real hard one. He's got a couple of he's also got a couple of what are called wide striped California kings. He kind of specializes in that. And so basically it's a California king snake that's white and black, but it just has a thick black dark stripe down the back, and the sides are all white. No patterns or anything else.
Very cool.
It looks like a little Oreo cookie that you pulled in half. Yeah. But and I can't spend any more money on the snakes right now. So no, that's so hard. But he announced last week, I'm getting out of the business. And he sends out a list of stuff. And I'm like, no, you can't do this to me. But no new snakes for me. But we'll see.
5556 text in with a really good point. How can Joe Biden believe in the death penalty? How can Joe Biden not believe in the death penalty when he believes in abortion too? Can you say hypocrite? Interesting. And if Joe Biden's a good Catholic, which he talks about being all the time, shouldn't he have commuted everybody?
Can we flip that 180 degrees? Can we just do it just to see if it's a valid point? If it's a valid point, can we flip it 180 degrees and say, if you're not in favor of abortion but support the death penalty, are you just as much of a hypocrite? I'd be curious to see what the text message says.
One person's innocent, the other person's not. That's how you respond to that issue.
But
so
the
one's
problem
been convicted
we have
by their peers. You can still believe in the sanctity of life and say that life is sacred, created by God, and that the state does have a role. And when I say state, the community that manages the safety and protects justice for people can have a role in the death penalty.
So the court system's infallible?
No.
So they could get something wrong. So then we
could get something wrong. And that would be horrific.
We could kill an innocent person.
And that would be horrific.
But wouldn't that be the exact same thing that you're afraid of on the other end?
Well,
abortion,
abortion, every single abortion is the taking of an innocent life. Every single one of them is.
Yeah.
And so so that's why the willingness of Democrats to embrace abortion while commuting like some of the most heinous people is just so offensive and bizarre. It's like we're perfectly willing to allow the execution of totally innocent people on a level that in this state is 70 innocent people a day. But we're going to commute Nathan Dunlap and allow him to live? That's why it's so offensive.
No. But again, if the court system's infallible, then it seems to make sense. If it's not, then maybe the state shouldn't be killing them. And again, it's not and in the example, the state is not killing those babies as you've talked to them about. That's someone else. That's an individual choice, not the state.
Well, the state's now paying for it in the state of Colorado.
But again, that's different. That's a different thing. It's transitory. But the idea being that if we're balancing the both of them, the state is deciding whose life to take. The state isn't deciding necessarily to take the life of the innocent child. That's something that the mother and the doctor, that's a procedure. So that's different in my mind than the state saying.
Yeah, I disagree with it. It's like saying we're not participating in it if we take away all of the speed limits. So if someone drives your car 200 miles an hour into somebody and kills them, well, the state's not participating in it, but it did take away all the speed limits.
I'm not sure I follow that as an analogy, but well, we should probably go to break there too.
Okay. Billy and I are kicking it off.
Yeah.
Of course, join the conversation. Who's on your political naughty or nice list? Would love to hear from you on that. Or Joe Biden commuting 37 death row inmates while allowing 3 to live, all because he wants to ensure a fair and effective justice system, even though the nation's most violent murderers who butchered their own fellow inmates and innocent civilians are now off. What in the world? Love to hear from you. The news continues just a few days before Christmas, and so does the Jeff and Bill Show. You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A series of Pacific waves will be cutting across Colorado this week, bringing occasional snow to Colorado's mountains and maybe a chance of snow showers here on Christmas Day. Partly to mostly cloudy, low to mid-50s. Lows tonight near 30. Partly cloudy, mild, 55 to 60 on Tuesday. 30s Tuesday night. Christmas Day will be mostly cloudy and cooler. Highs in the upper 40s and falling. Late Christmas Day and Christmas night may have some snow showers. Lows Wednesday night, mid-20s. Highs Thursday, 40s. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
At this hour, I'm Christina Wyo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
Almost 3 dozen high-rise condos and luxury hotels are sinking or settling along the South Florida beaches. A new study from the University of Miami says 35 buildings along an almost 12-mile stretch from Miami Beach to Sunny Isles Beach has sunk or settled between 0.8 and 3.1 inches. In some cases, the changes are being caused by nearby construction. It's not uncommon, according to experts, for buildings to sink a little during construction and right afterward. However, the scientists say the results of their recent study are surprising because the changes happened several years after construction. A nearly 2-year investigation by Democrat senators of Supreme Court ethics details more luxury travel by conservative justices, and they urge Congress to establish a way to enforce a new code of conduct. Any movement on the issue appears unlikely as Republicans get ready to take control of the Senate in January, underscoring the hurdles of imposing what some are calling unnecessary restrictions on the court. Republicans have said ethics investigations are a way that Democrats undermine the conservative majority court. Authorities in Texas say the driver of a pickup truck who took police on a high-speed chase drove his vehicle through the doors of a JCPenney store and injured 5 people. That's when he got into a shootout with police and was shot and killed.
In Dallas, Christina Wyo, Salem News Channel.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
This is for Melissa.
Very Merry Christmas Eve to you from the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yeah, this is Merry Christmas, Adam.
Merry Christmas, Adam?
Yeah. Didn't you ever do that? No? Didn't you know this is Christmas, Adam?
Christmas Adam.
Yeah.
What's a Christmas Adam?
Because Adam comes before Eve. So this is Christmas Adam. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. This is Christmas Adam. No? No,
I've never heard of that before.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
That is funny.
I said that. I've done that for years in and around the kids. And they'd go to school and people look at them weird too. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I've scarred my children both. So yes, in our house, this is Christmas Adam. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah. Well, we're putting together our political naughty and nice list. We need your help. Believe it or not, Taylor Swift has found her way onto the Jeff and Bill show nice list.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Even though I kind of agree with Donald Trump. What did he tweet?
I hate her. A little harsh. I don't see why. Oh, well.
I do think she's pretty terrible, but
she's fantastic. She's a phenomenal human being too. That's the thing. It's really good for being in the music industry. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I will give you that.
She's a fantastic person.
But I don't know if it's so much her. I guess so. She didn't let it get to her, but holy cow, that music industry destroys people. Yeah. I mean, you can't even like Britney Spears's Instagram's just a testimony to
but so
what
far
that industry does, Diddy, all that stuff.
So far then, but there's some that do it right and come out of it just right.
What do you think the difference is?
I think there's a series of things. I think part of it is who you have around you. I think how well grounded you are, how strong the external support around you in that system is. Also, I think it's partly how people are wired as well. But I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So here, I'm going to go recap my naughty and nice list real quick here. Mike Johnston making the naughty list, spending millions of dollars that are totally unaccounted for on the homeless and illegal immigrants. Mikey, poor management. Scrooge would be upset with you. You're on the naughty list. Jared Polis managing a state so poorly that the gay bars can't even make it. Jenna Griswold committing crimes that others go to jail for while she gets to become the governor. Kyle Clark desperately trying to downplay the Venezuelan gang problems and Aurora's code violations. And then Trisha Calavarz ran against, she was the Democrat that ran against Lauren Boebert. And despite being invited on the show dozens and dozens and dozens of times, she turned us down. And we started out nice. Hey, would love to have you on. By the way, we're about half Republican, half Democrat. We're the biggest talk show in your district. She just hid from us. And then eventually we just started to mock her. On the nice list, I put Joe Biden for so desperately trying to hold on to power that he sabotaged Kamala Harris's own campaign, screwed over all the Democrats in America, and gave Republicans a huge victory. Well done, Joe Biden. Elon Musk, America's Tony Stark, saving the world, because without him, our globalists would be the overlords. Charlie Kirk, single-handedly bringing down higher education in America while organizing massive turnout operations in key states and making being a young conservative punk rock again. I'm very happy with Colorado's Republican congressional delegation. Jeff Hurd, Jeff Crank, Greg Lopez, Doug Lamborn, Lauren Boebert, and Gabe Evans. Looking great out there, kiddos. Good job. And then, of course, DJT facing arrest, incarceration, lawsuits, assassination attempts, and the entire Democratic globalist deep state machine, only to usher in America's golden age. Let's go to the phone line.
I got a quick question for you, and we'll talk about this in a bit, and it may not be for today, but how do you think Elon's going to navigate Trump's China tariff threat? How's he going to navigate that? Because with his production,
he needs it?
No, but with his production facilities in China, that would impact his stuff. What's he going to do there?
I don't know.
Because he owns it.
They'll talk about it.
I know, but he has a gigafactory that he opened in Shanghai, producing Teslas. Somewhere around 25% of his income comes from China. That's weird.
Here's the difference between Republicans and Democrats. I'm sure they'll fight about it. That's what us Republicans do. You saw it during the budget debate, and you were gone Friday, so you didn't get the chance to be a part of that discussion. But Republicans fight over this stuff. Democrats, they all just get in lockstep and do whatever they want.
Democrats fight too. They fight a lot of times. I mean, I've seen it on both sides. I'm just curious about what that's going to do and how the China tariffs, because Elon desperately is trying to build a second factory along with a battery manufacturing facility and a couple other factories there. He's got 3 that he wants to build in the very near future inside of China. And I'm super curious about that, given the no manufacturing in China, bring the manufacturing home, and the tariffs. How does that work? But that'll be fun. Grab your popcorn and watch. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it. All right, let's go to Bernadette. Good morning. You're on the Jeff and Bill show. Do you have a political naughty or nice list?
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
He's not really in office or anything, but I want to congratulate John Fabricatori for his bravery, courage, energy, effort, time, money, and dedication spent running against Crow. I was impressed with him from the get-go when he appeared on Stuff and Tubbs at the El Paso border almost, 2 years ago with George and Deb Flora. He's just impressive, period.
He is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
And Bernadette, I agree with you entirely. And I'm hoping in God's good plan for this country that allowing Jason Crow to go sit in the minority in Congress while JFAB becomes maybe part of the administration and can help lead the mass deportation effort. I think that's going to be better for all of us. So I'm disappointed JFAB lost. But I think and I hope that God has bigger things in store for him.
Yeah, he might be more effective for doing and being where he is instead of having to be a politician.
That's a good point, Bernadette. That's a very good point. He's on my nice list too. John Fab's fantastic.
Who else do you have on your list, Bernadette?
Oh, he's top of the list, and I haven't politically. It's hard to say. I mean, I agree with most of what you said. I mean, it is here. We have what we have.
Who's on your naughty list?
Oh, the usual suspects: Biden, Harris, et al. I mean, they're all there.
I put Biden on my nice list because of his desperate effort to cling to power through Jill Biden. He really messed up his own party.
Yeah, I agree with you for that, but I just can't put out of my mind all the crap that he did for 4 years. I'm sorry, I can't pardon that.
I don't disagree with you, Bernadette. I think he can easily be on the naughty list. So I don't disagree with you. Bernadette, great call. Her phone line is open.
Merry Christmas.
303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. I want to get to Dwayne here in just a second. But look, are you going to start the new year dealing with the same old joint pain, losing sleep, not able to take walks, or do what you love because of your knees or hips? Don't do it. Take action now and get the pain relief you deserve for 2025. Call QC Kinetics now. Say goodbye to shoulder and back pain. QC Kinetics local medical professionals are waiting for you. Their advanced protocols in regenerative medicine have helped tens of thousands of people, and I'm talking about lasting relief. Imagine a new year without those achy joints, no more pain pills, and no more steroids. QC Kinetics uses the healing properties of your own body to attack the root cause of your pain and revitalizing your joints so you can move again. This is the future of medicine. So Joel in our office uses QC Kinetics. And what they've done is they drew a little bit of blood and then put it through a device that identifies and kind of separates out the plasma. And this plasma has special healing properties to it. And then they inject that back into the joints. Results? Joel is playing more golf than he ever has before. And when he goes for a hike, he doesn't have to rest the next day. So he's actually more youthful than he was even 5 years ago, thanks to QC Kinetics. So find out if all natural regenerative medicine's right for you. Call QC Kinetics. Look, the consultation's free. You can use your HSA and FSA dollars. So live your best life in 2025 and get started now. Here's the phone number. You ready? Here we go. 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. We've got locations in Aurora, Superior, Highlands Ranch, and Colorado Springs. I'm going to get to Dwayne next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS. John Corp was doing our video today. Do you know this one?
No.
Really? He was right. I thought
I've
you'd
never
know
even
this one.
heard this.
Really? Here we go. Hang on. Oh, we got a minute here. There's another breakdown. I would have gone sooner. I thought you knew this one.
Is this like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
No. Yeah, but it is rap. Oh, it takes too long to get into it. Hang on. We'll get here in a
Now,
sec.
Billy 8875 is saying you're the top of the naughty list on his.
Well, I understand that one. Although if it's the one that I thought of, they were doing liberals. I'm like, I'm not a liberal. So, yeah.
8875 saying Billy's the top of his naughty list.
That's
We're
fun. I appreciate
talking
that.
who's on your political nice or naughty list. Let's go to Dwayne Divide. Good morning, Dwayne. You're on the Jeff and Bill show.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. Glad to talk to you the day before Christmas Eve. And Billy, did you get a little superhero cape before Christmas?
No, I did not. Although I've been wanting one for years.
I understand. Well, you sound like you're wearing one as you sit there and check out you're listening to the talk station, 710 KNUS. You seem a little bit more peppy about that this morning. I wondered if you got a little superhero cape.
No, you know what it is? I got sleep.
Oh, well,
I got enough sleep. That changes a whole hell of a lot in my world. Yeah, that does.
Yeah, it is. Well, I didn't know if little Billy got a superhero cape.
No, but again, if you were shopping today, you can go ahead and get me one. I'm just saying.
Well, I didn't sell a Ferrari this year, so I'm really kind of tapped on the cash.
But I think you could though. You could give me a cape. Just
you can get me a Ferrari.
See, Jeff goes big. Nicely done. Nicely done, my friend.
Yeah. My last Ferrari cost me 3 years to try and get it. But anyway, the big things here, of course, I want to say thank you for playing the Laura Trump Tom Petty song.
Oh, jeez. It's so bad.
Well, see, the problem is that I was here at the hospital. A friend of mine was just given last rites, and we were looking at that. But as soon as he heard that, he stepped up and he says, "I want to live. I want to live." So I was very happy to see that happen. So thank you. You guys have done yet another service to bring another
saved a life. Laura Trump and Tom Petty.
So we've done that. My naughty list, of course, is Obozo for trying to sit there and run 4 more years of his campaign. And we see what he's done to destroy the country with high interest rates, overall 20% higher costs on everything. That's by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And all the issues that went on with the situation of, can anybody explain to me why we spent all that money in Ukraine? Anybody? That's on the naughty list. The good guy list, well, Donald Trump.
We spent the money in Ukraine because they were invaded by Russia, and so far the return on investment, in my opinion, has been pretty solid.
Well, the thing is that they had a chance to satisfy everything when they didn't keep bringing NATO east. So as long as they'd stop that, Putin had even said, "We'll stop right here if you guys don't go past Germany." I don't want to go into it now. It is the day before Christmas, but
yeah, but on the other end, he did invade a sovereign nation, Dwayne, and the outcome of that has been we've degraded the Russian military by more than a third. They've lost more than a third of their soldiers, and they've lost a vast majority of their armory and their military. They've lost a significant portion of their air force, and the U.S. has yet to fire a single shot or spill a drop of blood. If I would have come to you, 12, 18 months ago and said, hey, here's a way for us to pay money to just absolutely devastate the Russian military and impact their ability to exert military force on the rest of Europe, and this is the result, I can't see anybody that wouldn't take that deal.
There are some drawbacks and there's some advantages. The problem is in the vacuum, China's now moving forward. So I didn't want to get so dark and all this. I want to stay with everything else. But, overall, we're kind of looking at these things. As far as, like you say, the bad guy list, all the money being spent, all the different ways that it's being spent. And I always see with J.D. Vance, I can't see him on any naughty list, but that's me. I put him on my good guy list.
Yep.
Lauren Boebert, I put her on about every list I can put her on. But that's me, and I'm old, and I live up in a mountain all by myself with a 14-year-old. So it's about all I can do anymore. Let's see, other good guy peoples. I was sad to see Neil Cavuto go from Fox News.
Yeah.
He was an institution. He was a good man, and he was the one thing that very few journalists are these days, honest. And I feel that he sat there and left a bigger impression by his leaving, not so much on the aspect of his going away, but with what the amount of talent and what he did. Well, you may not always agree with him. He certainly did come to you with the point that you had to sit there and say, valid. Yeah, I got to work with that. That's valid. And Billy, you're on my nice guy list.
Oh, thanks. That's a mistake.
The $2.99 today on the Cash App. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Dwayne.
I figured Christmas, you're being nice. Jeff, you're always on my good guy list. I'd like to see you work on some things here. We need to get the veil dropped from your eyes. We need you to see a few more things. You should come out with Billy and I one day, and we'll take you out into the acid bath, but just up to your ankles where you go, oh, this hurts. And Billy and I will laugh at you going, virgin, virgin. We'll show you some of the real bad things in life, and you'll come back out of it.
Oh, but we got to go, Dwayne.
I
I'm so sorry.
appreciate it. Thanks so much. Always fun, Dwayne. Thank you. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always...
It is 8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, December 23rd. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Who's on your political naughty or nice list? Well, on Billy and I, we don't always agree on things, but on this we do. On the nice list for both of us, Congressman Greg Lopez did a fantastic job with the time he was given, and he joins us live in studio here. We're going to talk with still Congressman Greg Lopez all the way up until January 2nd when Lauren Boebert takes over, and she'll continue with good conservative representation for Congressional District 4. That's the eastern part of Colorado. And we're going to ask him about all the secrets that he learned in Washington, D.C. Did they give you a book of secrets? Who really killed Kennedy? All that stuff. What was your time like there? Did you have a good time?
Hey, good morning. It's great to be on your show. I did have a good time.
Yeah.
And actually there is a book of secrets, believe it or not, in the Library of Congress. It's not the one that we see on the movies, but there's a lot of interesting locations, that you can find within the house floor. Private rooms that a lot of people don't know are there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, a lot of interesting history in our capital, of course. And so, no, I enjoyed it. One of the things that people told me when I got there is like, make sure you enjoy it. Make sure you experience as much as you can because you're only here for a short period of time.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you back in Colorado, but let's start diving in. I would love to know what the last 3 days were like. So Mike Johnston, the Speaker of the House, drops this 1,500-page monstrosity. Now, this was a bill that was negotiated with Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, all that. But like Lauren Boebert pointed out, she never saw it. So all of a sudden, this thing gets dropped. And Republicans looking at this going, well, we sure as hell aren't going to pass this continuing resolution. And to remind people, we're still paying Nancy Pelosi's omnibus package spending bill.
That's the baseline.
The money. That's the baseline.
That's the baseline. Right. Yeah, no. So you're absolutely correct. Look, it's interesting because to your point, I think it was Tuesday morning, we had a caucus, the Republican caucus, and the speaker and the leadership every Tuesday morning, they kind of give us a sense as to what they're thinking. He did introduce the CR and he mentioned some highlights, right? He didn't tell us it was 1,500 pages long. It wasn't available. He didn't mention some of the things that, I think gave us a lot of concern about the debt ceiling being in there, right? A removal of the debt ceiling.
Yeah. Also,
this COLA for congressmen, which I tell you, none of that stuff. And so I think it was wise, right, for those that were able to start reading it to realize, hey, this is not what we should be doing. Look, a continuing resolution is really basically an opportunity to fund the government for the next 90 days at its bare minimum. It's not to add to the expenses. And so, of course, that he had to pull that off the floor. It never made it to the floor because of Elon Musk and President Trump saying, hey, the worst thing that you could do is vote for this. So it never made it to the floor. And again, now the second bill that he tries to tweak, it went from 1,500 pages to about 160 pages or something like that. It still had the debt ceiling on it, right? And so I think that's what a lot of us said, hey, wait a minute. Why are we taking off, the guardrails for government? It's like Tabor. You know what? Here in Colorado, the people don't trust the government on how they're going to spend their money. And so we have the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Yep. And so that's the debt ceiling. I try to explain to people, it's like, imagine for a minute, you have a credit card limit. Yeah. And you tap your limit and you go to the bank and say, hey, I need more, right? That's trying to remove the debt ceiling.
Now, the response was, and dude, this blew up Thursday night. I mean, I even tweeted about this, and I'll bring it up because you watched Republicans just debate the crud out of this with each other, which was good because I'd much rather have Republicans debating debt ceiling than just handing it all to the Democrats, because when you do that. But this is what I posted. I said, Matt Gaetz is defending Nancy Mace while Jack Posobiec is fighting Mace. Trump tweets against Chip Roy. Boebert votes for Trump's continuing resolution. But Boebert and Roy are friends. By the way, Cat Turd hates Roy. Mace voted to send Bannon to jail, and Massey and Rand Paul are standing up against the debt ceiling race. Thursday night was crazy on X. Everybody's jumping at each other, debating, including you.
Yep.
And I posted your comments, and people are responding, going, no, you just do what Donald Trump tells you to do. He's got the mandate. And it was all over the debt ceiling. Now, the way they responded and I want to give their side of the argument. So first was Lauren Boebert, and Lauren Boebert says, just pass it. We'll deal with this in reconciliation. I'll give you that. I'll give you a chance to respond to that first, and then I'll give you the other argument. But you disagreed with her on that.
I did. I did.
Yeah, what was the reason for that?
Well, look, you know what? Again, when does Congress ever come back and address something? I mean, it reminded me.
That's a good point.
You know, it reminded me like Nancy Pelosi, right? Hey, just pass the health bill. Just pass it. We'll deal with it later. Okay. No, we're not dealing with it later. Look, one of the things that really frustrated me and kind of, Jeff, really bothered me, the driving motivation was everybody wanted to be home for Christmas. They weren't focused on doing the right thing.
Yeah.
They weren't focused on finishing their job. You know, I had to remind the speaker in the caucus, I said, look, there are men and women in uniform that are not going to be home for Christmas. And they took the same oath of office that we did. They're not going to be home for Christmas because they have a duty. They have a responsibility. We took the same oath. We have a duty and a responsibility when it comes to making sure that we're funding the government correctly. And no holiday should get in the way. We should stay here. We should figure it out and do the right thing for the people.
Why didn't Speaker Mike Johnston, in the last 2 years, try to do some comprehensive budget work?
You know, I think it's because a lot of people are interested in spending money. It comes down to, look, we're $36 trillion in debt. You know, when I got there in July, it was $35 trillion.
Yeah.
It grows by $1 trillion every 100 days, you know. And so no one wants to, there's a couple of us that are saying, time out. Let's reevaluate this.
It's like the biggest thing that we do in Congress.
That's
is
correct.
Manage the budget.
Exactly. Now, I think, you know, of course, you know, as a speaker, he's got a lot of pressure. There's a lot of interest groups, but we must be able to remember that there are 3 branches of government. And the only branch of government that is supposed to watch over the purse of the people is the legislative branch.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think I'm hopeful that the 119th Congress will take this serious. You know, we'll see what happens in the reconciliation and see if, in fact, they will actually put parameters where they're going to cut spending, because that's what we have to do. And we need to do it not only on the discretionary spending, but we need to redefine the mandatory spending, which is Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. We got to reevaluate how that is currently working, because we need to make sure that we don't bankrupt our country like Germany and France and everybody else is doing currently.
Well, now we're talking with Greg Lopez, still the congressman from Congressional District 4 until January 7th when Lauren Boebert will take it over. Donald Trump says he doesn't want to touch some of those Social Security, Medicare, those types of things. And the argument coming Thursday night was Donald Trump needs to get rid of the debt ceiling, because when the tax breaks come in, initially the deficit's going to go up until businesses and the economy turn around. And then when the revenues come in, it'll eventually lower the deficit. So we need a little bit of space here. That was the argument made Thursday night, but you didn't agree with it. Why not?
No, because look, that's going to happen in the reconciliation. I'm going to tell you, come January, the first week of January, you'll see legislation where they're going to raise the debt limit by $1.5 trillion. Okay. Now, the whole idea is with a continued resolution, it's let's just fund the government to make sure that it's funded for the next 90 days. There's language in here, Jeff, in the bill itself, where we're funding different divisions of the government up to 2029, not just the first 90 days. And so I think it's raising the debt ceiling is probably something we should do, but we need to make sure there's offsets. If we're going to raise it, where are we going to cut? And I think there's plenty of, look, the zombie programs. I've been banging on the table about the zombie programs. 1,200 programs that have expired no longer have the authorization of Congress to exist. And we're spending $516 billion a year on them. You know, This is the stuff that, you know, the Doge is going to look at, right? Yeah. Elon Musk and Vivek, they're going to look at, where are we wasting money? And why are we spending money in certain programs that no longer exist? These are the conversations that need to happen. And I think at the end of the day, both Democrats and Republicans will realize that our job in Congress is to do the right thing and stop spending money we don't have.
So final vote in Congress was against this, even though they put the package together and they were able to get it through to keep the government going. You voted no. Why is that?
Well, again, I voted no because I'm looking at the future of our nation. Okay. And there's no reason for us to feel like we can't shut down the government, that we can't slow it down, because it never shuts down. It slows down.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, as the former director of the United States Small Business Administration here in Colorado, it never shuts down. But we need to send a strong message to the American people that we're sick and tired of spending money we don't have. I think that's the mandate. I think that's exactly what the people said when they voted in President Trump. Is that, you know what? We need someone that's going to watch not only the border, but watch out for our quality of life, bring down inflation. Inflation is impacted a lot by how much money the government is spending.
Yeah. So I got a lot of text messages on Thursday night because we were going to have you on Friday. Then you had a meeting with Mike Johnston. People were pretty frustrated, saying Donald Trump was elected on a mandate. It is Donald Trump and his direction that we need to get behind. Greg Lopez, you're not supporting Donald Trump in this continuing resolution. What he wants to do with the debt ceiling. So, Greg Lopez, get in line.
Well, here's what
response to that.
Here's what I'll tell them. I want to remind them that the Constitution of the United States has 3 branches of government. Our founding fathers realized, you know what? We need to make sure that there's a checks and balance, and we sit in the legislative branch. Do we want to support President Trump's agenda? Of course we do. Do we need to do it exactly the way he would like to do it? Because we're the ones that are responsible for approving the appropriations. You know, we haven't approved a budget in the last 40 years, Jeff. We've only approved it 4 times. Yep. In the last 40 years.
Did I fact checked you on this? Because you said this on our show, and I was like, really? No, you're right, dude.
Yeah. You know, and so these continued resolutions, what that means is that Congress has failed. Anytime you hear a continued resolution on omnibus, I want people to remember that means Congress has failed to do its job, to pass the 12 appropriation bills that we're supposed to pass as a true budget. And so when I voted no, I wanted people to understand, hey, there's a bigger crisis than what President Trump wants to do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I support his agenda. I voted for him. I support mass deportation. I support shutting down the border. I support minimizing all these EV vehicles and making sure that we have oil and gas and we have a good quality of life. You know, but it's more complicated than just saying, hey, look, we have to make sure that we follow in step. We're the checks and balance. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that we let them know that, hey, we're with you, but we need to look at it from a different perspective.
Well, and I knew this fight was going to come. I knew it because his first term, the deficit went up and people were like, well, it's COVID. But I was like, yeah, but he's not a fiscal hawk. Okay. Right. Like you look at the Rand Pauls, you look at the Chip Roys, you look at the Greg Lopez, and I put you in that category, the Thomas Massey's. You guys are fiscal hawks. And I would put myself in that category too. Cut. The only way you get the government smaller is you have to starve the beast.
But here's the other thing, Jeff.
Top of it.
Yeah, but here's the other interesting thing that people don't realize. Do you know when the conversation of raising or eliminating the debt ceiling occurred?
Like Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Right.
Okay. Now, if everybody knew it was coming, everybody could see that we're going to have to deal with it in January. Why in the world would you wait to the last minute to start discussing this? Yeah. That should have been discussed in September. Yeah. Right? When we passed the first continued resolution. That would have gave us enough time.
Look, people were kind of like shocked, like, oh, and there's all these articles, Republicans and does Trump have this, the loyalty that he needs to govern the next 4 years? I said, this is going to happen. There's 2 issues that Republicans are going to debate over. Okay. And we're not like Democrats where every single one of Joe Biden's nominees got through without any type of debate. Democrats just get in lockstep and they all just go with each other. Okay. There are 2 issues that I will tell you now. Over the next 4 years, Republicans are going to debate a lot on. One is fiscal spending, because you do have people in our party that are just never going to be happy with the budget. They're going to fight it all the way. Okay. And I'm happy to have those people in our party because we need to have these debates. And you're exactly right. Should it be done 48 hours before the government shuts down? Okay. This is going to happen over the next 4 years. The next one is going to be abortion. Okay. Because I disagree. Look, I love Donald Trump on so many other things, but it is a human life. And the federal government has a right to step in and define it as such and protect it. And so I would absolutely support a national ban on abortion. Donald Trump does not. And you're going to have people in the party that are going to debate over this stuff. So just get ready for it. It's coming.
Yeah, look, America's at a crossroads, right? It's about a worldview. Where do we want to take America in the next 10 to 15 years? And what is the legacy that we want to leave behind? I'm with you. Look, I don't think anybody is willing to kill babies. That's the issue. I don't care how you describe it. I don't care what
Hearn I might put in that category. But yeah.
I don't care what label you put on it. That's the outcome. Okay. And yes, this is a moral compass. This is a moral character of America. I spoke on the House floor about America's losing its moral compass.
Yeah.
And so this is a time when the citizens, and I'm glad that they're paying attention, but they need to pay attention throughout the entire year, not just when the government may be shutting down.
That's right.
And they need to constantly talk to their elected officials about what they're thinking and how they're moving forward. So, I can tell you, look, I believe America is going to survive. We've been given an opportunity to correct the ship.
Right. That's exactly right.
And now it's time for common sense and logical people that are willing to make the hard decisions. Look, it's like if someone's addicted to something and you say, well, you know what? I really don't want you to be addicted, but let me give you more money so you can go out there and get more of it. Congress is addicted to spending money it doesn't have.
Right.
And someone has to say, time out. We got to reevaluate this,
Right.
And you're not going to change it over a year. You're not going to change it over 4 years. You got to start shifting the mindset of the people that get elected.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 10-year exercise, but we must start moving in the right direction.
Talking with Greg Lopez, still the congressman from Congressional District 4 till January 2nd. He's wearing the lapel pin. You can see it on video here if you go to 710K US, YouTube, Rumble, or X. I want to ask you about Mike Johnston. All right. I haven't been impressed. I'll be honest. I didn't like the bill that went in. I don't like the Ukraine funding. I'm kind of over him. Look, I know that this is going to be a tough battle to try to find the next guy, but to Lauren Boebert's point on our show, we are continuing as Congress to fund Nancy Pelosi's omnibus spending package. The fact that under his leadership and under Kevin McCarthy's leadership, we couldn't have found one way to cut a little bit.
Yeah, look, but
I'm over this, and I want to get into Kay Granger in a second.
Well, here's the thing. Look, Mike Johnston the speaker is a good man. Okay.
Yeah.
Does he have the leadership skills that I believe we need at this time? Actions speak louder than words.
True.
And you can see, again, how is it that we don't know that there has to be a plan B or a plan C, right? Do you just expect everyone to vote for something that they've never seen? 1,500 pages? That's not leadership.
That's right.
That is someone that's trying to push something, thinking that because it's President Trump that supports it, that we should all, right, just step in line and not worry about the long-term effects of what's going to happen to our nation. So I think he does have a strong challenge. I don't know that he's going to be successful as it comes to being reelected speaker, but people need to understand, look at the actions, determine if that's the leadership that we, the American people, are looking for. And if so, okay. If not, then let's find some true leadership. But I think at the end of the day, he is trying. It's probably one of the hardest jobs that you will ever have. But you know what? The way I look at it is be careful what you ask for, because you might get it.
True.
And he asked for it.
I mean, go ahead, Bill.
No, that's interesting. Greg Lopez, Congressional District 4 representative for at least a little while longer, joining Jeff and Bill live. We appreciate him live here in the studio. It's interesting you bring that up about Mike Johnston and looking at pushing back somewhat of the White House, because you go over into the Senate and Tommy Tuberville says that the party should acquiesce to Donald Trump, that whatever he says should go. And I have a problem with that, because in my mind, what I hear coming out of Tuberville's mouth is he's king. And it doesn't matter. Tommy Tuberville, in my mind, is willing to give up the advice and consent role of Congress. Not only that, but give up the purse strings. And I think it's going to be difficult personally over the next 4 years for many members in Congress because, and Jeff and I have talked about this, I'm of the opinion, and I don't think either Jeff or you probably share this, but I'm of the opinion that Donald Trump views our 3 branches of government as a bug, not a feature. He views this as, oh, wait, you mean I got to get okay from Congress to do this? And it has to be okay with the courts? Oh, we got to fix this. Because that's not how he functions in his business life. He doesn't have another board that he has to answer to. They're a rubber stamp to him. And the lawyers that he deals with go out and do what he wants. They don't tell him he can't do X, Y, or Z. Their job is to make sure he can do X, Y, and Z. And I think that is going to be the number one problem over the next 4 years, is that I believe how Trump is wired, he fundamentally doesn't look at 3 co-equal branches of government. He looks at one being dominant, and it needs to dominate the other 2. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I can tell you this. I don't think it's his DNA. I think it's the culture in Washington. I would say this all started with Obama. This all started with him saying, hey, I'm going to do executive orders that go against the federal law. I'm going to see if anybody challenges me. And that mindset got planted during the Obama administration, and it's continuously growing. You know, when President Biden says, I'm going to remove the debt on college. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute.
Student loans.
You know, I mean, again, I think that is the culture. And you're right. I think the bureaucrats have come to a point where, hey, whatever my boss wants, I'm going to figure out a way for him to get it. And that is why the founding fathers said, no, you know what? We know that's going to happen in the executive branch. We know that's human nature. So let's make sure that the legislative branch is a backstop to that, because they control the purse strings. And then let's make sure we have a judicial that kind of balance that as well. To your point, you know, we must go back to the basics of the Constitution. And look, just because the president would like to see us do something, that doesn't necessarily mean that we as a Congress should say, whatever you want. Why would we advocate the responsibility of the legislative branch to the executive branch?
Yeah.
That would be going against the entire foundation of our Constitution.
Yeah, there's a reason why appropriations bills have to start in the House, because it's the largest group. And the whole idea is if you get that many people together, hopefully you'll carve off the stupid stuff around the edges. And what you're going to be left with is the stuff that everybody agrees on. However, well, as you outlined, we haven't been doing that. Not at all.
Talking to Greg Lopez, Congressman for Congressional District 4. So if you got to know the Republican caucus there, if Mike Johnston was to be vacated, which I have a gut feeling I think is coming, who do you think could step in? Who would be a good speaker?
You know, that's hard for me to answer, Jeff, because you have to remember, I'm only around all the Republican Congress members on the House floor. You know, if we're not on the floor, I don't see them, right?
You didn't go to all these cocktail parties? You didn't get flights to the Bahamas? Come on, Jack Abramoff.
We do know he was the MVP in the football game, though.
This is true.
Right,
That's okay.
true.
He goes to the important events, the stuff that matters.
You know, on that point, though, Billy, you know what? I had no idea who was playing, what their positions were, you know, were they on Congress or staff. At the end, I found out that there were 4 Democrat Congress members playing on the team, and we became best friends.
Yeah,
right.
nice.
Oh, that's great.
Again, it's that relationship building, right? But I'm going to tell you,
You understand there, Jeff, that just a minute ago, he said that a bunch of Congress members got together and they didn't know what they were doing. I'm just saying.
Shocker, right?
Maybe something that we could take from. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to interrupt. Okay, go ahead, my friend.
But no, look, it's going to be more than one vote. Okay. Yeah. It's not going to be, I don't think so. It's going to be one vote. Because remember, there's only 219 Republicans that have coming into the 119.
But is the House Freedom Caucus as powerful as they used to be?
When you have this small gap in the majority by 2 or 3 votes, anybody, doesn't have to be the Freedom Caucus, anybody that can rally 4 or 5 people can cause
that power. Yeah, because like Matt Gaetz is gone, right? Is Marjorie Taylor Greene? I don't hear from
she's
her.
there.
She's there.
Still there.
Yeah, she's going to be Doge it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she joining the administration?
No.
But she's going to be on the committee.
The subcommittee
work with Doge. Yeah, she's on the Doge.
Oh, she's on the subcommittee.
Right.
Yeah.
Laura Boebert's around.
Right. Massey. Mays.
Thomas Massey.
Yeah. Look, there's.
But I thought he's going over the mission. No. Okay.
Mm-mm. No, look.
It's hard to follow all of them.
It's when it comes to the budget. I sat on the budget committee, right? So all there is to discuss about the budget in the future. I think what needs to happen is, in order for the Congress to come together, they have to understand there's got to be an issue that drives the agenda and the mindset. And the only thing that I see is the budget is the national debt. Everything else we can disagree on, but no one will argue that if we continue down this path, even the office of OMB and also the budget, the Congressional Budget Office is saying, we can't continue down this path, guys. We must start looking at doing something different. And so who would be the next good leader? You know what? I think there's going to be a lot of individuals that believe that they could do a good job, but they're not going to step forward because the margins are too short, right? So it's going to be a very interesting first day for the 119th.
So it's almost like the job that nobody wants.
Yeah. And so it's important for people to understand that just like in any organization, you must have leadership, but the leadership must communicate and explain why are we going this way, right? I had that meeting. I was a part of the meeting on Friday morning. The reason I was invited to that meeting, why do you think I was invited?
Well, originally I assumed that you would ask for a farewell meeting. Maybe that was the farewell meeting you were having.
No, I had asked for that, right? But that wasn't. I never had my farewell meeting with the speaker. Which okay, you know what? I understand. It was a tough week, right? We had this meeting. I was invited because I was a no vote the night before.
Ooh, you got pulled into the principal's office.
Well, all of us. You know what?
So it's you and 38.
Yes.
You and Massey.
Yeah,
and
all of us. Yeah. And Vice President-elect J.D. Vance came into the room, and we had a good debate. We had a good discussion. Mm-hmm. We had good discussion about why is the president wanting to do this? How can Congress help him? How can we evaluate this?
Well, what did he say?
Well, he firmly believes, like a lot of people, that the debt ceiling is really designed for the minority in power to create pressure. He doesn't see it as a cap. He doesn't see it that, hey, this is for all of us. Okay. So he was encouraging us to remove it. Now, I disagree with him respectively.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I don't respect the title, that I don't respect his position, but that doesn't mean that I have to agree with him, because we are there for the same reason, right? He's on the executive branch and I'm on the legislative branch. And so, we came out of there thinking we had a number of options on how to fund the government. Okay.
I mean, so in that meeting though, did it end up with some LBJ treatment style, like in your face, get on the team?
No.
That type of thing?
Nothing.
No. Okay.
No. Very respectful, very collaborative, hearing each other out. There really wasn't a whole lot of arguments against what we were talking about the budget. Everybody agrees. Everybody agrees, right? It's a matter of how we're going to move forward in the next 60 days, in the next 90 days, in the next 4 years. Well, so I think, there was a lot of discussion about reconciliation. That's why I'm telling you that in January, you will see that they were going to raise the debt limit by 1.5 trillion with the expectation that there'll be a savings on this mandatory spending of hopefully of 2.5 trillion.
Okay, great. So that was part of the deal that came.
That was part of the discussion.
Who was kind of the leader of the 38?
I don't know if there was a leader, because I can tell you this.
Yeah.
I never spoke to these people. I never spoke to John Massey or, any of the other people about
Thomas Massey.
Yeah, Thomas Massey.
Right.
I never spoke to them on how I was going to vote.
You guys weren't coordinating by on a text thread?
They may have been. I wasn't on the thread. But so I just voted what I believe was the right thing to do. And I think there's a lot of people like that, that, they may not necessarily. One of the first things I was told when I got there is, Greg, be careful who you hang out with, right?
Yeah.
Because people will label you too quickly. Yeah. You don't want to do that. So okay, I understand that. And so
just you and Lisa were hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I don't think there was one group that said we're driving this.
Yeah.
And if whoever is in charge of that
Because
group,
Trump went after Chip Roy.
Hmm?
Holy cow! Threatening to primary him. Now
That was so surprising.
I didn't see Elon Musk trying to primary him. Yeah, I mean, he was. Elon Musk was willing to primary Republicans that supported Mike Johnston's original 1,500-point plan.
Yeah, and he said he'd primary Democrats. He came out
Yeah, that's right. But
which is
but
really
the only
interesting.
guy out of the 38 that Trump seemed to go after was Chip Roy. Is there something more there? Because he didn't go after the rest of y'all.
No, you know what? I think the reason he went after Representative Roy is because he's passionate. He's willing to talk the truth out in the public square.
Yeah.
He's also very much against the raising the deficit. Deficit is a core thing. We've had him in the studio. The deficit is really, really important to him. And Donald Trump, as he said during the previous administration, previous election cycle, that he is the king of debt. I believe that they are wired so differently, where Donald Trump doesn't see the fault in debt, where Chip Roy is afraid of it and knows the danger that it can do. And I think they just fundamentally disagree on that issue as far as how to go forward as to whether or not debt is a big deal for the country or not.
Was it just DJT and his negotiations? I'm gonna jab you. I'm gonna hit you where it hurts with a primary.
No.
Do you think he really wants Chip Roy out of there?
It's hard to say, right? I mean, the president, if there's something I've learned in watching him from afar, he's a strong negotiator. And so he will throw something on the table, right? That kind of makes everybody sit back and say, is he really going to do this? Because he has the ability to do it, but is he really going to do it? Right? Now, here's the thing. Chip Roy is elected by his district, 740,000 people, and if he continue to get reelected, it's because they love his voice up there on the House floor.
Yeah.
Right. And again, we must maintain the separation of powers. Yeah. If we allow, look at it this way. Here in Colorado, is the governor going to tell the state legislature exactly what to do? We're seeing it, and people aren't happy about it.
Right.
So there's really no difference, except it's in DC versus Colorado. And so I think that at the end of the day, there is going to be a lot of discussion. I think we will move forward. I think the president will be able to evaluate, if I need more money, it's not that I need to get it from the House by getting more appropriations. It's let's reshuffle the cards that they've given me, and let's see how we can do this.
Gotcha. Talking with Chip.
That's not Chip Roy. That's Greg Lopez.
You were mentioning he was in studio, and it got all in my mind.
The number of times that I do that, I'm so happy you did it once. It makes me so much happier. Thank you.
Greg Lopez, Congressman from Congressional District 4, is joining us live in studio. If you'd like to ask him a question, feel free to text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115, or give us a call at 303-696-1971. Speaking of Dan Caplis, here's a guy that I'd love to see get into elected office because I think he'd do a great job. Dan is pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. I've known Dan for well over a decade. This guy's the real deal, and that matters because when you show up to these big battles with, the healthcare industry or your insurance industry or whatever it might be as a result of an injury case, you want to send a good message. And when you show up with Dan, you're showing up with somebody that was the son of a police officer, a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. But more than just being a great guy and sending a good message, Dan is a real winner. Listen to this. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. It gets better. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Some guy's got a mind like a steel trap. So if you show up to battle, you want Dan Caplis on your side. He's a real winner. In fact, Dan Caplis Law is so trusted that they're the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So chances are you're not right on the side of a road right now going, gosh, I sure wish I could use an injury lawyer. But when that happens, and you're dealing with police and you're dealing with first responders and paramedics, and now you're having to call the insurance company, and God forbid you got to take somebody to the hospital, do you want to be trying to Google Dan Caplis Law? No. Give him a call right away so you have him on your team. And in order to do that, you got to have his phone number in your contacts. So here's his phone number. Put it in your phone right now. Dan Caplis Law, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLIS law.com. All right. Text messages coming in. I'm putting both of you on the nice list.
Oh, I know they're not talking to me now.
0459, they are.
They're not. They're talking about.
I'm putting
Greg.
every national politician on the naughty list with the exception of Greg Lopez.
Yeah, he makes the nice list. Again,
he has the courage to reference
politician in
Social
Colorado.
Security reform. Every national politician on the naughty list except for Greg Lopez.
Yeah, we should talk about Social Security reform too. Yeah.
All right, we'll get to that and more. Greg Lopez live in studio. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A series of Pacific waves will be cutting across Colorado this week, bringing occasional snow to Colorado's mountains and maybe a chance of snow showers here on Christmas Day. Partly to mostly cloudy, low to mid-50s. Lows tonight near 30. Partly cloudy, mild, 55 to 60 on Tuesday. 30s Tuesday night. Christmas Day will be mostly cloudy and cooler. Highs in the upper 40s and falling. Late Christmas Day and Christmas night may have some snow showers. Lows Wednesday night, mid-20s. Highs Thursday, 40s. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
At this hour, I'm Christina Wayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
The Washington Commanders' path to returning to the nation's capital is clear after an on-again, off-again.
At this hour, I'm Christina Wayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
The Washington Commanders' path to returning to the nation's capital is clear after an on-again, off-again saga in Congress ended with a late conclusion. The U.S. Senate passed a resolution early Saturday to transfer the land, including old RFK Stadium, from the federal government to the District of Columbia. A provision to do so was included in Congress's initial short-term spending bill before it met opposition from those who want to cut spending, like President Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The House's slimmed-down bill did not include the measure. The land transfer paves the way for the NFL team to potentially build a stadium on the site of the franchise's former home. The Commanders are also considering other places in the district, like Maryland and Virginia, to build a stadium in the coming years. German authorities say they received tips last year about the suspect in a car attack at a Christmas market in Germany, as more details emerged about the 5 people who were killed. Authorities have identified the suspect as a Saudi doctor who arrived in Germany back in 2006. Several German news outlets identified him as Taleb A, withholding his last name in line with their privacy laws. The world's largest hornet has been declared eradicated in the U.S. The invasive northern giant hornet is also known as the murder hornet for its dangerous sting and its ability to slaughter a honeybee hive in a matter of hours.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Wayo, Salem News Channel.
don't even know what to say.
This one is so good, isn't it? Come on.
I like it, Billy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. This is a parody song by radio legend Bob Rivers. Yeah.
That is too funny.
Yeah, he sounds like Ozzy. Oh, I've got one where he does a great version of
So this is a radio host? Radio
production
legend?
guy. He's a production guy. Yeah.
That's
has
funny.
done a ton of these. Yeah. Some of these are fantastic. There's one I cannot play on the air. I'll tell you guys about it off air. He has a really funny fake commercial that he does. Instead of Motel 6, he's what is it, Bob, whatever it is, Bob Bodette for Manger 6. And it's about coming to the manger and how you are with your newborn baby and what we got here and how much it costs. And we got plenty of storage for your frankincense, your myrrh. Yeah. It's really funny. He's really good.
There you go.
Yeah. This is my favorite.
Well, very happy Merry Christmas
Merry
to you all.
Christmas.
It's Christmas Eve. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
Christmas Adam. We talked about this.
That's right. Christmas
Adam because Adam comes before Eve. Today is Christmas Adam. Yes.
So joining us live in studios, Greg Lopez. A great rundown of everything that's been happening the last 4 or 5 days in Washington, D.C. I want to pivot now. Let's talk Colorado. Let's start first with the next big decision that Republicans are going to have to make, which is, do we maintain Dave Williams as chairman of the Colorado Republican Party? Your thoughts?
That's going to be a very interesting conversation. I think right now everybody agrees, right? The Republican Party here in Colorado is extremely unstable. There's a lot of different factions going on. And I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of challenges. I think there'll be candidates that are going to step forward.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one thing, look, whoever becomes the next state party chairman, they need to recognize that their job is to mobilize the voters, not get involved in the issues of the day. They need to lead with a steady hand, with common sense, to make sure that we grow our numbers in the House and win some of these.
But to that point, Dave Williams can go look. Jeff Hurd, Gabe Evans, Jeff Crank, Lauren Boebert. We got a strong congressional delegation we're heading to D.C. with. And we stemmed the bleeding that was happening in the state house, got rid of the supermajority that existed there of Democrats and added 3 there. So we've always talked and always said, judge the chairman like you would a head coach, right? And did we have a winning season? I think you could say we had a winning season.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Ask the candidates if they got any true support from the state party. Ask them if they really got the support that they expected, or did they run their own races? Did they run their campaign knowing that they're not going to get a whole lot of support from the state party? And even the ones that we did win, we won by very little margins. We won one by what? 7 votes down in Colorado Springs?
3
votes.
3 votes.
Right?
One house. Yep.
And so, yeah, the numbers shifted, but we expected Lauren to win, right? We expected Jeff Crank to win. We expected Jeff Hurd, right? We first thought he might be that might be a very challenging race. And yet he overcame not only the amount of dollars that they were spending against him, but he regained a lot of the votes from that area.
Yeah.
So I think, let's look at not only the outcome, but let's look at who really was pushing and moving the needle.
Who would be good in that position? I mean, I'm just putting you on the spot. Is there anybody that comes to mind that you go, I would like to go as a candidate. I'd like to go into battle with that person as the chairman.
I think right now the name that pops into my head when people ask, and I'm not speaking for him, but he ran last time, and that's Senator Kevin Lundberg.
Interesting.
I think he's wise. I think he understands the political landscape. I think he truly has a good sense of the pulse of the voters. And that's why when he ran last time, I thought that was a great candidate.
Interesting. We'll have to continue to watch that. I'm going to ask Greg Lopez next if he's running for governor. You're not going to want to miss it. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
I think I'm going to.
always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill show. Greg Lopez is live in studio here. I want to wrap with what's next for you. You're running for governor.
Jeff, there's a lot of people asking me that. They want me to stay relative, say, look, there's a lot of opportunities for you. Governors in 2026 running against.
Polis is out, so it'll probably be against Joe Neguse.
Right.
That's my guess.
Well, who knows, right? It's an open seat.
Yeah.
And then you have Senator Hickenlooper that's running for re-election in the state Senate. Same people that are voting across the state.
Heck.
And then,
gosh,
of course,
what a useless
going back to the House. But I'm going to tell you this. Look, I care about Colorado. And I've always told people, don't be surprised if you see my name on a ballot again. As a congressman, I sent a letter to Pete Buttigieg about CDOT.
Right.
And the safety issues, right? In the constructions. I'm also trying to help FNL, the airport down up in Loveland, to get a radar system that allows them to be able to control the traffic coming in. And this is where a lot of the planes when we're fighting the fires here in Colorado, right now, their tower, they're using binoculars. They're not using, they're using binoculars.
I feel like our phones do more than that.
So I care about Colorado, and I've always cared about it. Everybody knows that, I don't go away. I keep fighting. I was in the military, so I will continue the battle.
Well, the thing I've always said about you is you're a mission-oriented man. I've run into plenty of politicians who would love the title, right? I would love to be a congressman, that type of thing. And then when it doesn't work out, they just disappear and you never hear from them again. But I would always see you down testifying on particular issues because you cared about the mission itself of driving conservative values in the state of Colorado. So it'll be a lot to see. Well, Lisa, happy to have your attention a little bit more.
Yes,
now.
she is.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Greg Lopez, thank you so much for your service. Well done. Good and faithful servant. I think it's very appropriate for your time in Congress. I think a lot of people to our text messages here appreciated the work you did there. So as you look back on it, we've got about 30 seconds here. Just give us some closing remarks on your time in Congress.
Let me tell you this. A lot of people said, hey, he's going to go there and be a placeholder. And I told people, no, I'm going to be a principle holder. And I think my record shows that I stood up for the conservative principles, fighting a good fight, making sure that our voices are not silenced. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and the holidays and be safe. It was an honor and a pleasure to serve.
Greg Lopez live in studio here. He'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
KNUS.
Is it wrong of the social conservative ordained pastor to be tired of Christmas music at this point?
Yes, it is. Yes, that is not allowed. It's not allowed at all. This is old school Percy Faith. This is who this is. Yeah. Percy Faith and the Orchestra.
Billy really gets into the Christmas spirit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. This is fun. There's something magical about this. This is fantastic. We'll have another modern one. We'll have here coming up soon what I think is one of the best. It's an alternative Christmas song. Almost nobody knows it, but it's fantastic because it's tongue in cheek. It's basically, it's Christmas from a child's point of view. So in other words, it's gimme. The lyrics are absolutely hilarious. But we'll play that in a little bit. But how'd you do a little person?
5631 texting in. My Christmas message to our elected officials in Washington and the State House: repent. Amen to that. To the two of us here, you and I, Billy, Merry Christmas.
Oh, hey.
One further message for Bill: don't let your chestnuts roast too long over the open fire.
Nicely done. I like that one. That's a good job. That's a really good one.
5631. Well, good morning. It's 9:02 in the Mile High City on this Monday, December 23rd, Christmas Eve, or as Bill likes to say, Christmas Adam. Partly cloudy today, 58 degrees. Gotta love me some global warming. Although it's not too nice. It's just kind of brown when we don't have snow on the ground during this time of year, which isn't great. Well, coming up here in just a second, the legendary John Andrews is going to be joining us, founder of the Centennial Institute, founder of the Independence Institute. He's got a new book out, which I am thoroughly enjoying, all about his 8 decades reflecting on the politics of this country. It is really fantastic. I'm enjoying it, and I think you would too. A little holiday reading. We're going to be talking with John Andrews in a second. But first, let's check in on news and comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey! Better late than never.
That's right.
I guess. The show sounded good. I was listening to it on my phone, but couldn't get you guys. So here we go. Good to talk to you on this Christmas Eve, 38 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 56 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story: DIA saw busy Sunday traffic as holiday travelers head for their destinations. Check-in, bag drops, and security lines wrapped around the airport, with wait times showing 27 minutes at one point. Airport officials are reminding passengers to arrive 2 hours before their scheduled boarding time and to be patient, of course. Over 150 people had to be rescued after a gondola malfunction at Winter Park over the weekend. The resort says a mechanical issue occurred and immediately shut down the gondola. The ski patrol began rescue efforts at 1 o'clock and finished rescuing skiers and riders at around 6 o'clock. President Biden is commuting the death sentence of 37 people, leaving only 3 federal prisoners on death row in America. In a state, is that nuts?
How do you? Go ahead and read the statement, then I'll make a comment. Sorry.
Oh no,
but
we know he didn't write the statement.
Well,
so.
but how do you claim to be Catholic and against the death penalty and still leave 3 dudes? I mean, like this
Great
isn't
point.
principled. This is totally political. It's political in the sense that he placates to the radical left that doesn't think that, you know, anybody ever does anything bad except for if you're a Republican. Then the whole weight of the judicial system falls upon you if you're a January 6th there, or if you're Donald Trump or Tina Peters, then we're going to punish the hell out of you. But, you know, everybody else gets off scot-free, and these guys now are going to live a life that's paid for by taxpayers.
Yeah, it's horrible.
But then you leave 3 guys on there because you knew that commuting, the guy who did the synagogue shooting, the Boston massacre, and shot up the AME church, you knew you couldn't survive commuting those guys politically. So this was purely a political decision.
Oh, no question. No question. So who did it? I mean, was it Barry Soetoro, or who was it? Who knows?
Jill Biden?
It wasn't him. Jill. Yeah, exactly. Right. So the statement from the White House said that Biden, he stressed that he condemns the murders, but can't in good conscience conscience advocate for the death penalty at the federal level. Whatever, like you said, it's political, all political. DJT is.
Are
hinting,
you sorry, Blake, to interrupt.
Yeah.
Are you a death
No.
penalty guy?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I am. How about you?
I've hesitated a little bit just because I never trust the government, and I don't like, of course the government's going to get it wrong on this, but when you take away the death penalty entirely and you remove the ability of prosecutors to put that on the table to negotiate with these vicious animals that are killing, oftentimes mass killing people or assaulting and raping, all that, and you take that away, and then taxpayers get to fit the bill for these guys to sit around and watch cable television for the rest of their lives. Give me a break. Fry them, and especially these school shooters or these guys engaging in trafficking of minors, like across the border, human trafficking. I want public executions, man.
Ooh,
I want a head on
I'm
a
right
pike
there with you
to send a message.
We shouldn't have to be paying
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Three. Hey, Merry Christmas to you. That was beautiful. I like your sweater, by the way. For a guy who wears all these Christmassy sweaters and you don't like Christmas music, it's pretty amazing.
It's just a lot, man.
Yeah, it is. I agree. All right. Incoming border czar Tom Homan. Love this guy in Phoenix over the weekend.
Out of the gate, day one, we're going to focus on public safety threats and national security threats. They're first. They're coming first. In Tren de Agua, your days are numbered. My gang's bigger than your gang. And we're going to take you out of the country. We're going to port you out of here.
That's so awesome.
Who do you think you are coming
This
to
is
the
great.
States on
Listen to
Earth
this.
and victimizing Americans in this country? Your days are numbered. You're number one on the list.
I love it. And then DJT in Phoenix, it is.
Hold on. By the
Phoenix
way,
also, yeah.
did you hear the interview of Mayorkas over the weekend on Meet the Press?
I heard about it. I didn't
they're
listen
like,
to it.
there's statistics out there that all these kids have gone missing. And there's all this human trafficking taking place with minors. And he's just like, well, technically that falls under a different division within the federal government. It's like, you do that. You're the head of Homeland Security. These guys are so inept, so weak. And then you listen to Tom Homan. That was great audio, Blake, that you just played there. That right there is the leadership that America's been longing for.
Well, you have evil Mayorkas. I mean, that's evil. How he answered that question, that's just evil. I mean, you don't care about the kids. And then Holman is just, everyday American, wants to clean it up.
Right.
All right, here's the Trumpster in Phoenix over the weekend also.
And there's a brand new hat that's out. I saw it yesterday, the first time, and it's selling like hotcakes. It says, Trump was right about everything. And I don't want to brag, but we were right about just about everything, including foreign policy, these crazy wars that we're in. One of the things I want to do, and quickly, and President Putin said that he wants to meet with me as soon as possible. So we have to wait for this, but we have to end that war. That war is a horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. Hey, a 7-year-old boy is recovering from heart surgery after a drone at a holiday light show reportedly fell from the sky and hit him in the chest. It happened Saturday in Orlando at an annual holiday drone show. The FAA says some of the small drones collided and fell into the crowd, seriously injuring the boy. Hopefully he will recover. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills, locally owned and operated since 1954. Online at lairfireplacepatio.com. Tiger Woods' son hit his first hole-in-one on Sunday at the PNC Championship in Orlando. Charlie Woods did it playing alongside his famous father. That's pretty cool. Nuggets beat the Pelicans 132-129 in overtime. Avs 5-2 win over the Kraken. CSU over Nevada in college basketball. UNC over Denver. And the Broncos can clinch a playoff spot if they beat the Bengals on Saturday. 34 in Castle Rock, 35 in Broomfield, 38 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue on this Christmas Eve. Blake Olson.
That's
News
Christmas
Talk
Adams,
7.
sir.
Christmas Adams.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
How
I
dare you.
apologize.
I can't believe you.
That's horrible.
And you call yourself a newsman.
I have an excuse, man. I mean, I wasn't listening to you, all for 100 for every minute.
You're not making
day,
it better.
So.
That's not better.
I know. I'm sorry.
I love you.
Apologize.
Merry
well,
Christmas,
you guys,
my friend.
You too. Merry Christmas. You guys have a great one. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A series of Pacific waves will be cutting across Colorado this week, bringing occasional snow to Colorado's mountains and maybe a chance of snow showers here on Christmas Day. Partly to mostly cloudy, low to mid-50s. Lows tonight near 30. Partly cloudy, mild, 55 to 60 on Tuesday. 30s Tuesday night. Christmas Day will be mostly cloudy and cooler. Highs in the upper 40s and falling. Late Christmas Day and Christmas night may have some snow showers. Lows Wednesday night, mid-20s. Highs Thursday, 40s. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
This is just for our special guest coming up here. This is so good.
Perfect song for our next guest. Joining us on the Jeff and Bill Show, John Andrews, founder of the Centennial Institute, Independence Institute, former gubernatorial candidate, president of the Senate here in Colorado. They're literally the godfather of the conservative movement in Colorado, and he's got a new book out, Front Row, 8 Grateful Decades at the Political Parade. He's one of my heroes. John Andrews, thanks so much for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Bill. Merry Christmas to you guys. It's great to be with you today.
Well, Merry Christmas to you as
Christmas.
well. So over 80 years, you've witnessed fully 1/3 of American history, reckoning from the end of the Revolutionary War to the end of the Biden presidency. Fascinated with politics. I actually think that description should say World War II. I don't think you were alive at the end of the Revolutionary War. But John, tell us about your new book. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's my evening reading.
Great, Jeff. The book is Front Row, 8 Grateful Decades at the Political Parade. Turning 80 last year, and I must say that friends flatteringly tell me I don't look a day over 79, but marking 8 decades, it is 1/3 of the time from the end of the Revolutionary War to the much anticipated and now celebrated end of the Biden presidency in just 20-some days. But I wanted to take stock and kind of do a memory album of terrific experiences that I've had and people I've known and opportunities that I've had to serve and undergo some very stiff challenges and sometimes with the opportunity, but more often than not, by the grace of God, rise to the occasion. White House speechwriter resigning under protest of Nixon's mishandling of the Watergate scandal, on and on. 5 different think tanks, really, Jeff and I, you and I got to know each other first through the Centennial Institute at Colorado Christian University, but prior to that, there had been the Chavano Institute of National Leadership associated with Hillsdale College out in Michigan. There had been our own local Independence Institute, still going strong under the crazy leadership of John Caldera. Texas Public Policy Foundation, Claremont Institute out in Southern California, and most recently, Centennial with the late, great, lamented President and Senator Bill Armstrong at Colorado Christian University. But it's been so much fun to work on this book and now be sharing it with friends. And the goal is to make sure that we're wide awake to how much we have to be grateful for as Americans, how much we have to protect and defend against the threats. Some of them like termites just boring quietly, others blatantly assaulting us in the defiance of the eyes of all the world. But we got a lot to be grateful for, a lot of work to do. I've been in the front row over these years, more often a spectator, occasionally a participant at this wonderful American political parade that you guys celebrate with daily radio on KNUS. And I'm just delighted to share the book Front Row with others.
I'm going to put a
Get
link.
on Amazon, by the way.
I'm sorry, say that, John?
Book is easy to find on Amazon, John Andrews, Front Row. And I can easily even work it out with any of your listeners that would like me to autograph and inscribe it on a book plate to personalize it to themselves or as a gift. In fact, it's not too late to make a Christmas IOU gift. Print a screenshot off of Amazon of the book Front Row by John Andrews, or wrap it up and give it to whoever you want to have the gift for Christmas day after tomorrow, and then the book will be delivered a few days after that.
Talking with John Andrews, his new book, Front Row. I'm put a link on x.com/Jeff Hunt, and you can purchase it there. I am enjoying it. It's a wonderful evening, relaxing read for me. We're in all the debates that take place during the day, to take some time and to read what I call essentially the quintessential American story. A young boy growing up, he travels to Colorado regularly. He's the president of a student body class, and then makes the decision to go into politics, and then what happened with Nixon, and then your leadership since then. It's been a really enjoyable read, and so I strongly recommend that people get it. Now, John, I want you to share, because this was a moment when you really hit kind of the national stage. You were featured in the New York Times, but the resignation during Watergate. Tell people what happened there.
Jeff, getting out of the Navy in late 1969, I was taking my uniform off earlier than I had planned. As a young husband and father, civilian life beckoned to me, but I didn't know what I was going to do to make a living. I went looking for newspaper jobs, and in the process of that, my father's friendship with President Nixon's top domestic aide, John Ehrlichman, led to my being invited to come to work in the press office at the White House. And then they needed a speechwriter under 30. And so I was tapped for that assignment. I was getting along so poorly with Press Secretary Ron Ziegler, I thought I was going to get canned. Instead, I kind of failed upward into speechwriting, affirmative action hire. The kid is under 30. Let's give him a try. So I learned the craft quickly under the tutelage of Raymond Price, the chief speechwriter, and the two stars of Nixon's writing staff, Bill Sapphire and Patrick Buchanan. The Watergate scandal began to percolate in the summer of 1972, and many dismissed it. Republican and Nixon loyalists dismissed it as just politics as usual, and an overblown set of charges against the president. But the cover-up became unraveled under the leaks from the FBI that served it up for easy supposed investigative journalism by Woodward and Bernstein of the Washington Post. It was really not investigative journalism. They tapped into a fortunate leak by Mark Feltz, who hated Nixon and wanted to be the head of the FBI. As Nixon increasingly mishandled the scandal and the cover-up, I didn't think he was guilty of crimes, but I felt like he had not lived up to his oath of office to the American people to protect and uphold the Constitution. And I was going to leave quietly, and then as it was like a worm eating inside me, that I had seen some things that I wanted to go on record publicly. Early 74, I went into the national media, New York Times, Washington Post, PBS, Washington Week in Review, CBS Morning News, Newsweek magazine, and was relocating here to Colorado to help my dad run a Christian youth ministry that had been his life's work. And I was trying to disengage from politics, but I had a couple of weeks in the bright glare of the national spotlight. And ultimately, Nixon was gone 6 months after that, midsummer, August 1974. But I'm still not sure on the dividing line between quiet loyalty to a flawed boss, patron Nixon. Would that have been a better way for me to go than to go public with my concerns? But after the years have passed, after I sift all of it, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to bear witness and challenge fellow Americans. There's one standard for everybody. We've heard so much in the Trump and Biden years about who's above the law and who's not. And it was important for it to be established that Nixon not be above the law.
Talking to John Andrews. He's got a new book out, Front Row, 8 Grateful Decades at the Political Parade. John, of course, the founder of the Centennial Institute, the Independence Institute here in Colorado, in addition to a number of other think tanks, and former gubernatorial candidate, president of the Senate. In many ways, he's the godfather of the conservative movement in Colorado. So I want to ask you about Donald Trump. What are your thoughts on him?
Jeff, I was on Hugh Hewitt's national radio show in the summer of 2015, and he asked me about Donald Trump, and I basically said, send in the clowns. Who can possibly take this guy seriously? What a misjudgment I made. As I saw Trump stronger and stronger through the primaries into the spring of 2016, I decided that the voice of the American people expressed in primary victory after victory for Trump needed to be taken seriously. And I became, I think it's fair to say, the first prominent Colorado Republican to endorse Trump for the Republican nomination and for election to president, May 2016. And I really admired the job that he did under vicious odds and opposition in his first term. Certainly was supporting him for a second term in 2020. But, you know, things work out as they should. I think that American people, having had the dose of Biden and Harris that they had for 4 years, made the right choice and overwhelmingly the right choice to give Trump back the mantle of leadership. He's going to do it better this time because he comes in better prepared, because his enemies, open and secret, have not been entirely vanquished, but they're back on their heels. The polls establish it. He is more accepted. There's more hope for the American people. His coalition is certainly broader than anything we've seen from him before. I'm very encouraged about the next 4 years, and I'm proud to have been not from the word go, but from the early times, a Trump supporter.
Yeah, I want to ask you, based upon your 8 decades of experience, there's maybe you feel the same way I do, but in many ways, Trump kind of fits a quintessential American president in the sense that he's daring, bold. And when I think back to Teddy Roosevelt and some of the other guys that have taken on that mantle, I think in many ways, Donald Trump is quintessentially an American president. Your thoughts?
Well, Jeff, year by year, starting in the 20th of January, 3-4 weeks from now, I predict that year by year, Trump is going to vindicate the support and trust that the American people have, and folks like you and me have placed in him. I think he says there's a new golden age in store for America. That doesn't come just by one individual, no matter how gifted a leader, and Trump is a very gifted leader, but it comes from the bottom up, a groundswell in America. Part of the genius of the American story has been our ability to self-correct. I think we're going through that now. I think wokeism has peaked. It's not by any means conquered, not by any means. People like you have got to keep the heat on, and you do day by day. But I think this is a turning point time that's coming, 25, 26, 27, 28. Choose another president. Maybe it's J.D. Vance. We're not sure who it'll be, but it's going to be, I think, potentially, as Trump has predicted, the beginning of a new golden age, or I called it in an earlier book of mine, the second American century. The 20th century was an American century. Many have believed America's star was now sinking. I think we've proved otherwise, and I think we're in for another American century.
John Andrews, ever the optimist. We're talking with him about his latest book, Front Row, 8 Grateful Decades at the Political Parade. By the way, I have a link on my X account. If you go to x.com/Jeff Hunt, it's there. Just type in Front Row, John Andrews into Amazon. It'll pop up there. So, John, you look at the great state of Colorado, your adopted home, my birthplace. I'm a native here. Gosh, it's been heartbreaking to watch what's happened in this state. Leaning on that ever optimistic side of John Andrews, can you give those of us a little optimism about the direction of Colorado?
2002, I had been in the state Senate for 2 or 3 years, Jeff, and we had been in the minority to Democrats since 2000. 2002, we took back the majority, and my Republican colleagues graciously trusted me with the Senate president's gavel for the next 2 years before I left on my own term limit. That 2002 election saw Bill Owens overwhelmingly reelected as governor, the only governor we've had on the Republican side for decades and decades. But that same election saw Wayne Allard reelected in the U.S. Senate. It was a high watermark for conservatives and Republicans in Colorado, and boy, it's been tough times since then. I believe, and I spell out this belief and the reasons for it in the book Front Row. I believe that there will always be an opportunity for healthy competition between the party that says, here's what government can do for you. That's the Democrats, the liberals, and the left. Or our party, Republicans and conservatives, who say, look out, here's what government can do to you. We need a balance of a government that serves the needs of the whole people, but at the same time, government that is controlled and subordinate to the will of the whole people. And it's a balancing act, and sometimes things are going to go too far to one side or the other. I believe that if we play our cards right, it won't happen overnight. But look, I'm sure you've been drilling into it on the show. We saw some little glimmers of light in the state legislative races as Republicans this past time. We recovered a congressional seat to make it a 4-4 in the delegation, with Gabe Evans taken out of the Democrat up there in the North Metro. And I think step by step, Republicans are going to claw their way back into a competitive position in Colorado if we can avoid the circular firing squad, if we can avoid some of the kind of fanatical and wrong-headed leadership, if you can even call it leadership, that the state party has right now.
I'm guessing you would not support Dave Williams taking another term as chairman of the Colorado Republican Party.
Jeff, I was all for Dave Williams when he was a rising young political figure in Colorado Springs. I endorsed him for state house. He served there quite ably. But as time has gone by, his consuming ambition to be in Congress and his sense of almost a dictatorial, fanatical purity about what conservatives should stand for, I think has become very counterproductive. I'd like to see Williams find another line of work and start with a clean slate for the leadership of the state party. It's not going to be easy to do. It's already been turned back in the courts when they thought they had unseated him several months ago. But nothing personal. I just think Dave Williams has outlived his sell-by date.
Talking to John Andrews. He's written a new book, Front Row, 8 Grateful Decades at the Political Parade. All right, John, I want to pivot here as we wrap up. In just 48 hours, we're going to be celebrating the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Would you mind, with your great wit and your wonderful whimsy and your words, as a speechwriter, as an author, briefly share with our listeners the message of Christmas?
It was a dark time in the Holy Land. 400 years, the minimal prophetic word of the Lord to the people of Israel, the people of God. Comes John the Baptist, and his father prophetically says, "The light is breaking through. Light in the darkness," referring to his son and the son John, who would in due time acclaim his own cousin, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of the Virgin Mary and the foster father of the loyal carpenter Joseph, would acclaim Jesus as the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. That light breaking through is as needed and powerful, miraculous, and available to each of us today in 2024 as it was the first Christmas in the manger in Bethlehem. And we have the opportunity to experience God with us because Jesus was born, did his ministry, assembled his 12, one of whom would betray him, taught God's word, God's will, God's love, and then exemplified God's love and God's will sacrificially with his death on the cross. This is for everybody. People who've called themselves Christians all their lives, or people who have been scoffing at it until they happened to turn on the radio this morning and didn't even know they were going to be listening to Jeff and John and Bill talking about what Christmas means and who Jesus is. this is for everybody. And those of us that have lived with him and loved him and tried to be loyal to him all our lives, it still needs to be expressed anew with us, as with that, I would call him accidental seeker that is discovering Jesus for the first time because by mistake he turned on our radio show today. Great blessings, great opportunities, so much to be grateful for, which is, of course, the theme of my book, Front Row, but not just politically or civically grateful, but grateful in the eternities because of what Jesus has done for us and will do for each of us.
John, you are a gift to the conservative movement. You're a gift to the people of Colorado. You're a gift to myself as well. John Andrews, author of Front Row, 8 Grateful Decades at the Political Parade. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your boldness over the years to start these wonderful institutions like the Centennial Institute, the Independence Institute, and so many others, and for being a great conservative leader in this state. You can follow and John continues to write quite well at backboneamerica.net. backboneamerica.net. You can read his writings there. You can purchase his books. I've got a link to Front Row, his latest book, at x.com/Jeff Hunt. From the bottom of my heart, John, you know I love you. I consider you to be one of the best mentors I've ever had in my life. And I want to wish you and Donna a very Merry Christmas.
A holy and happy Christmas to you and yours, Jeff, Bill, and all who are listening. The best is yet to come under our great God.
Amen to that.
Merry Christmas,
John,
sir.
thank you again.
That is amazing.
John Andrews.
Dude.
Still got away with those words.
Dude, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know, as you were wrapping up there, it was such a special conversation. There really wasn't a place for my stupidness.
I appreciate that.
It's what I kept thinking of during that. It's okay. This is a dumb connection, but I kept thinking of the opening song for All the Family, where they talk about we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again.
Yeah.
The whole time my theme is that we could use a man like John Andrews again. We could. We really
Bill, you're
could.
exactly right.
Yeah,
about
we
that.
could. Now, Jeff, I want to take a moment here to remind our listeners about the fact that you don't have to live your everyday life in pain. Thanks to this amazing professional team that I found at Balance Wellspace, I'm no longer living my life in daily pain. When I was growing up, the older people in my life, grandma, grandpa, were all like, this hurts, and oh, my spleen stress. Have you seen the bursitis and my cataracts? And I thought that's just what happened when you got older. So when things started hurting, I thought that just comes with the territory. It doesn't have to be that way. Those things you've stopped doing because of the constant pain in your life, you can start doing them again. Thanks to my friends at Balance Wellspace. We're talking about non-invasive medical procedures, not cutting anything, not stitching anything back together, not taking anything out of you or putting anything into you, other than just shots if you need them in certain trigger point injection places like that. But we're talking about using your body's natural ability to heal, maximizing what medical professionals have found out in the previous decades, and then making sure your body begins to heal itself with a little bit of the sciencey stuff thrown in. Let me tell you about it. It's called integrative medicine. My friends at Balance Wellspace in one office can offer you chiropractic care, neuropathic care, physical rehabilitation, wave therapy, regenerative care, trigger point injections, and a whole bunch of Star Trek level stuff that really has to be seen and experienced to be believed. All non-invasive, but all doing an amazing job letting your body repair itself. As we're talking right now, I'm regenerating the meniscus in my left knee. My left knee used to give out when I was carrying heavy things at home down the stairs. Doesn't do that anymore. It's now my right knee that acts wonky. My back used to be in constant pain, and I won't even tell you about the popping and cracking I used to get out of my right shoulder. But thanks to the wonderful regenerative care, trigger point injections, and even some of the wave therapy that I've done over at Balance Wellspace, my bum right shoulder that I had operated on more than 25 years ago feels fantastic, almost new, and no surgery. That's the difference they can make, but you've got to reach out to them first. Brand new offices in Lowry, right across from Hangar 2, plenty of parking, and you'll notice the big shady trees that I like to park under when you get into that parking lot. Going up to the third floor in the building, and you'll meet the team, Dr. Julie, Dr. Jess, and everybody. They'll do a personal pain evaluation for you, take a look at what hurts, ask you what you want to change, what are your goals, and then they go to work. They put together a custom plan for you, and that's the difference versus your current medical care. Your current doctors, they may be doing a good job, but they're not talking about how their care individually is working together to make sure you get to the goal that you want. Imagine putting all your doctors into a rowboat. If they weren't all rowing in the same direction to get you to where you want, They could be doing a great job, but they're not helping, are they? No, they're not. That's the difference. Reach out to my friends at Balance Well Space because it is about integrative care. And so what you do, you reach out to them, you talk to them, and let them go to work on you and make sure you're back doing the stuff that you want to. My friends at Balance Well Space can help you live a life without pain, but you've got to take the first step, and that is reach out to them. BalanceWellSpace.com, BalanceWellSpace.com. Think about a great way to start the new year, a new year with no pain. But take that first step first. BalanceWellSpace.com. And when you reach out to them, tell them you heard about him here on the Jeff and Bill Show, because boy, does it help us out. And we appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
That's great to hear. We'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
At this hour, I'm Christina Wyo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
RockyMountainBargains.com, where you'll always pay half price. Why pay retail when you can get what you want at 50% off? Just go to RockyMountainBargains.com and save. Here's this week's featured item.
$50 gift cards from Rodizio Grill in Inglewood and downtown. Get them now for half price.
Get it now at RockyMountainBargains.com for 50% off. RockyMountainBargains.com, where you always pay half price. Restrictions apply. Go to RockyMountainBargains.com for complete details.
At this hour, I'm Christina Wyo in Dallas, and here are your top stories.
About 1 million taxpayers will automatically receive special payments up to $1,400 from the IRS in the coming weeks. The money will be directly deposited into eligible people's bank accounts or sent in the mail by a paper check. However, most people shouldn't get their hopes up about getting the cash because it will only go to taxpayers who failed to claim a recovery rebate credit on their 2021 tax returns after missing one of the COVID stimulus payments or receiving less than the full amount. The IRS says most taxpayers eligible for the federal stimulus payments already received them. The world's largest hornet has been declared eradicated in the U.S. The invasive northern giant hornet is also known as the murder hornet for its dangerous sting and its ability to slaughter a honeybee hive in a matter of hours. The Washington State and U.S. Departments of Agriculture announced its eradication from the U.S. 5 years after the hornet was first spotted near the Canadian border. Officials say there hasn't been any new detections of the hornet in Washington since 2021 and called that a major success. Suchir Balaji, a former OpenAI engineer and whistleblower who helped train the artificial intelligence systems behind ChatGPT, and later said he believed those practices violated copyright law, was found dead in his apartment, with officials saying his death was by suicide.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina Wyo, Salem News Channel.
What song is this, Billy?
This is My Christmas List.
My Christmas List.
My
Nice.
Christmas List, and it's by the rock band Simple Plan. Now it's Christmas. And here.
Dude, your ability to go into deep tracks is amazing.
This is so good because it's just like, it's a kid. It's like, I want everything. Give me it all for Christmas. And this is just a long list of BS of stuff that they want. It's just, there's so much fun with this one.
Well, a very Merry Christmas
Yes,
to
Merry Christmas.
all of you all. Let's go to the phone lines. Jay in Denver, thanks so much for being so patient. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Oh, great show. Enjoy listening, and Merry Christmas to you all. I
Merry
really
Christmas.
appreciate everything you do. It's not easy. We all know it's not easy to sort of put as a racer, kickstand down and take a stand on things, because sometimes you get swung at, and I understand that, but you're holding up well.
Thank you. So you've got
Thank
your
you.
nice and naughty list, huh?
No, why? I just called them. Wish you Merry. Oh, sure, I do. I have one.
Okay.
This will blow
The
you
reading
away.
here-
You will not believe it.
Go ahead.
Lester Holt asked Kamala a question. One, have you been to the border? She said no. What really got me is that she had never been to Europe. Really? Boy, that tells me everything.
Yeah. That
Think
was a
about
good
it.
question. That was one of
Great.
her undoings. That was one of her, and it was
Big,
as
big
simple as, have you been to the border and why not? And then she just self-destructed.
Yeah, I
Yeah, she did.
believe, hypothetically, in another day, that there's probably a good reason why she would never go to Europe. I don't know, but either way, you all are doing great. Thanks for supporting us out here in the wild, if you will.
Well, Jay, we really appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
so
man.
much for
Merry
the call,
Christmas.
brother. Merry Christmas. Jay's line will be open if you want to give us a call, 303-696-1971. So Bill and I will be out for the next few days, but we'll be back on the 30th. So we'll have a lot to cover up by then. There'll be a lot of news to discuss. So,
Yeah, we're not going to be
but
here
there'll
for
be
a
some
while.
special Christmas programming coming from Salem the next few days. You're not
Yes.
going to want to miss that.
I have no idea what it is because I didn't pay attention to the meeting.
All right, we'll continue and wrap up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, very Merry Christmas from Jeff and Bill to you all. This will be our last broadcast until after Christmas. Hugh Hewitt will be carrying it tomorrow. Then some special Christmas programming on Wednesday, December 25th, provided by Salem. Hugh will be back on the 26th, and then Pete Boyles on the 27th.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So Pete's going to be sitting in, and then then we're back the next
And then
week.
we're back on the 30th, so we'll be off the rest of the week. From the bottom of our hearts to all of you all, a very Merry Christmas. Thanks for making the Jeff and Bill show so special for what it is.
Yeah. This is amazing. I mean, it's just an incredible group of listeners that really make this show different than so many other things that are out there on the radio. And we appreciate all of you and tolerating me.
You made a lot of people's nice lists. I think only one or two naughty lists.
I think they're drunk. Someone's hitting the eggnog way too early in the morning. There's no way.
Now, as we wrap here, Bill, what's your favorite Christmas carol? I'm not sure we asked you
Oh, yeah,
that.
no. It's a fairy tale in New York. It's from the Pogues.
Oh, that's right. We did
And
talk
Christy
about
McCall. That's the one that really gets me. That's the one that will easily, push me over the edge. And it's still, even to this day, it gets to me emotionally because it is so beautifully tragic. And that's something that I like because I think life at its core is also beautifully tragic. It's filled with happiness and celebrations like we have over Christmas and difficulties that we all have overcome over the course of the year. So that's kind of the story of life.
And
Yeah,
thank
that's why it means a
God
lot to me.
we have a Savior who loves us, which is
Yes.
what we celebrate on Christmas.
Yep. It's the reason for the season.
So if you missed any of the show, go to 710knus.com to download the podcast. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader. This is KNUS.